So, hi everyone, welcome all of you to another session of Saptarishis Astrology on how to improve our planetary karma, the series. And we have chosen the planet today, which is kind of considered to be a difficult planet, or there has to be some churning with that planet because that is how the story goes, and it is considered to be the karmic control axis of the chart. So yes, so the planet is Rahu today, and we have to present to teach us none other than Kṣaṇāti himself. Welcome, Kṣaṇāti. Thank you so much for whatever you're doing for all of us, the series and many more series to come. And the way he puts it, the way of his presentation, the way of his story, so beautiful. Like he covers actually the everything. And one of his specialities is remedies and Ayurvedas. So that is really great. And thank you so much once again, Kṣaṇāti, for whatever you're doing for us. And now I'll stop and hand over everything to you. Thank you so much.
Namaste, Madhuraji. Thank you so much for your constant kindness, support. I'm so deeply appreciative and grateful, and I feel so much support and spirituality and consciousness that we share together in this time. So I'm just so grateful. I can't thank you. My words cannot express my appreciation. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on how to improve our planetary karma with the North Node, known in Sanskrit as Rahu. And Rahu has a very powerful signification in Jyotish. It is considered one of the major Navagrahas, one of the 9 major planets in Jyotish. And so it is very important that we understand how to improve our planetary karma with this force known as Rahu. The reason I chose Rahu today is, well, there's a few different reasons. One is we're at this very powerful time with Rahu, where it is in a transition between one constellation and another, between one Rashi and another. And so currently, Rahu is making its transit out of the sign of Leo and into the sign of Cancer. One of the reasons why Rahu goes into Cancer instead of Virgo is because Rahu is permanently retrograde. Rahu has a force, Rahu has a karma, Rahu has an energy, has a permanent retrograde. So it is moving backwards through the signs and constellations versus forward through them. And so we're at this very powerful transitional point where Rahu is going from Leo into Cancer. And so we have to look at these vibrations of the karma with Rahu and the transitional energies and what that is going to be. So that was one of the reasons, is because we're at this cusp of Rahu. The second reason that I went with Rahu is because 3 days ago I entered my own Rahu Antardasha. So 3 days ago I was Saturn Mahadasha Lord, and Rahu is my Antardasha Lord. So I'm currently in this almost 3-year-long Rahu period. And so this is a very important time for me as well to remind myself how to improve my planetary karma with Rahu. Also, beyond this, I am a Rahu Lagna. I have Rahu in my first house. It's at 15 degree. A planet is strongest at 15 degrees. So Rahu in my Lagna at strongest degree. And it's also Aquarius Lagna. And so Aquarius at 15 degree is a Satabisha Nakshatra, which is also ruled by Lord Rahu. So Rahu is one of the strongest planets in my chart. And so I am particularly excited about this, how to improve our planetary karma with Rahu today. Sometimes I joke around with my clients that Rahu is my specialty. And that is just kind of a joke because Rahu is so strong in my chart. I have been working on improving my planetary karma with Rahu for many, many, many lifetimes. And so I hope I can continue to share that of how I'm seeking to improve my planetary karma with Rahu and help everyone in the world through Jyotish, through the light of Vedic astrology, how to improve their planetary karma with Rahu. So thank you all so much for joining us today. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yes, wonderful. And I'm sure it is your specialty. This is the best time to do the webinar.
Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Can everyone see a large Shani Deva?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And so now can everyone see the cover of How to Improve Our Karma with Rahu?
Yes.
Okay,
Clearly.
wonderful. So today we're going to be doing How to Improve Our Planetary Karma with Rahu. And so what does that mean? We're going to be understanding the karmic nature of Rahu and how that manifests in our life. And then we're going to use ancient remedy, contemporary lifestyle remedy, Ayurvedic remedy, and also paradigms or ways of thinking, ways to form our consciousness that will help us improve our planetary karma with Rahu. And when we work on Rahu in this way, it helps us to achieve whichever aim of life Rahu is influencing in each individual's chart. So if Rahu in first house like me, improving with Rahu karma helps with my dharma. If Rahu is in 12th house, improving your karma with Rahu will help with moksha. If Rahu is in 10th house, it will help with artha, 11th house kama. So we can all work on Rahu and improving our karma in the same way by understanding the nature of Rahu and then doing all of these types of remedial practices. And depending on where Rahu sits in your chart, it will give you the rewards of that house. It will give you the rewards of the aim of life associated with that bhava. So traditionally in the Vedic ancient text, Rahu is called the commander of direction. And as we move forward into this webinar, we will fully understand, okay, what does it mean that Rahu is the commander of the direction, or the owner of the direction, or the guider of the direction? There are many different ways to interpret this title, but this is one of my favorite ways to describe Rahu. Some people call Rahu the shadow. I don't think that really describes its metaphysical or its karmic nature, although it does describe some of the qualities that it has and the significations it brings. It's not really fully describing what its spiritual properties are. I believe that when we improve our karma with Rahu, it helps align us to our soul's truest essence. It also helps determine one's true contentment as a soul and fully live in the moment. So these are three very powerful energies that when we improve our karma with Rahu, it will really help us align to these vibrations, which are soul's true essence, our soul's true contentment, and to be and live in the moment. It's very interesting that Rahu is akin to Saturn. And so why is Rahu akin to Saturn? One of the reasons why Rahu is akin to Saturn is because they both teach us how to live in the moment. Their karmas have a similar vibration in that they are teaching us to be here now and live in this moment, that today, this minute, this second. All of these things which Rahu and Saturn are both teaching us together. The main difference is they have completely different ways which they teach you this lesson. As we talked about in the Saturn webinar, Shani is known as Shanaishcharya, the slow-moving planet. And so often Saturn teaches us to live in the moment by creating delays in our life, by creating obstacles in our life and challenges that we have to endure. And so Rahu carries a somewhat similar vibration, but it's not necessarily patience that it's using to help manifest these karmas. And so we'll talk about that as we move forward. We're going to cover 6 areas today. We're going to talk about the karma of Rahu, how that manifests. Then we're going to talk about Rahu's current transit in Leo and its upcoming transit in Cancer. Then we will have a discussion about Rahu karma and how that relates to planetary dignity, which is known as exaltation, debilitation, and favorable and unfavorable positions. Then we will talk about the improvement of Rahu karma, which is ancient, which is contemporary, and which is Ayurvedic. Then I have some community examples from people who have sent them in prior to this presentation today. And so we will go over those examples and we will look at the questions as well as the charts of the individuals who sent those questions in to fully answer their query. And then we will conclude, and if we have time before the conclusion, we'll take some live questions from the audience. So if time permits, of course.
Yes, wonderful.
But before we get started, the most important part is for us to connect to this graha, is for us to connect to this planetary force. There is no better way to do this than through the traditional Jyotish mantra, through the traditional Vedic mantra, which is associated with the planet. Here on the left side of the screen, I have a Rahu yantra, which has very powerful significations. In Sanskrit here, it says Shri Varaha Deva, which is the deity often associated with Rahu. As we look more into the right side of the screen, you have the Devanagari, the Sanskrit, and the translation of the traditional Rahu mantra. So I'm going to chant this mantra together. All of you, if you would like, that are joining us today or are viewing this video after its initial recording, I encourage you to join the mantra here, to read the words along the screen as much as is comfortable for you, to fully let this vibration of Rahu become present with all of us as we dive into understanding our karma. The last line there, which is the seed sound, I'm not going to be doing the seed sound. I'm going to be doing the tantric mantra, which is Om Brahm Brim Braham Saharahu Ve Namaha. And that will become clear once I get to that part of the mantra. And I encourage you to join me at that time.
Yes, wonderful.
Om Ardakayam Mahaviryam Chandradi Cha Vimardanam Simhika Garbha Sambutam Tamrahu Pranamamyaham. Ardakayam Mahaviryam Chandradi Cha Vimardanam Simhita Garbha Sambutam Tamrahu Pranamamyaham. Ardakayam Mahaviryam Chandradicha Vimardinam Simhita Garbha Sambutam Tamrahu Pranamamyaham. Ardakayam Mahaviryam Chandradicha Vimardinam Simhita Garbha Sambutam Tamrahu Pranamamyaham. Ardakayam Mahaviryam Chandradicha Vimardhanam Simhita Garbha Sambutam Tamrahu Pranamamyaham. Ardakayam Mahaviryam Chandraditya Vimardinam Simhita Garbha Sambutam Tamrahu Pranamamyaham. Ardakayam Mahaviryam Chandraditya Vimardinam Simhika Garbha Sambutam Tamrahu Pranamamyaham. Ardakayam Mahaviryam Chandraditya Vimardinam Simhita Garbha Sambutam Tamrahu Pranamamyaham. Ardakayam Mahaviryam Chandraditya Vimardinam Simhita Garbha Sambutam Tamrahu Pranamamyaham. Om Ram Rim Brahm Saha Rahuve Namaha. Om Brahm Rim Brahm Saha Rahuve Namaha. Om Brahm Rim Brahm Saha Rahuve Namaha. Om Ram Brim Brahm Sarahuve Namaha. Namaste, everyone. I hope that was enjoyable.
Yes, completely.
So now we will begin to discuss the karma as relates to Rahu. This karma with Rahu is has many different facets. It has many different aspects. And so we will talk about all of these assets, manifestations of Rahu karma. Rahu is often called the dark side of the moon, the shadow that the moon creates. These are common descriptions of Rahu, both in ancient Vedic understanding as well as contemporary understanding. I've always liked the term the dark side of the moon because if you're a fan of American music like I am, the great band Pink Floyd had an album called The Dark Side of the Moon. And so I believe that this vibration of the dark side of the moon is the inherent metaphysical energy of Rahu. So to understand Rahu as the dark side of the moon, without understanding what exactly that means yet, but to understand that there is a dark side of the moon or the shadow that the moon creates. One of the ways that we can understand this vibration, and they say that you can't see Rahu. Many people say, oh, Rahu is a shadow planet, upagraha. You cannot necessarily see it. I tend to disagree. I believe that you can see Rahu in the sky. When you are looking at a new moon, you see the little sliver of the slice of the moon, which is white. And this looks like a crescent moon. This crescent moon sits under Shiva's third eye. So this vibration here is very powerful of the crescent moon, which is the little sliver of the moon, which is white. Now, during that new moon, you can also see the rest of the moon. It's a circle around the 2 points of the crescent of the moon. And that shadow is black. So you can see the whole moon, but you only see it as black. So you see that the white part of the moon, which is the crescent moon, and then you see the whole circle of the moon, which is black. This whole circle of the moon, which is black after a new moon, which is the node, which is north of the south crescent moon. This is how you can actually see Rahu. Rahu is that shadow on the moon. So I do believe when you are looking at a new moon and you see the rest of the shadow of that moon, this is actually our ability to see Rahu, which is the node which is north above the crescent moon. Now, after a full moon, you begin to see the whole white of the moon, and then the whole white of the moon slowly delineates, or you slowly loosen the white of the moon, and you can see a crescent, which is the shadow, which is the south node under the full moon, and this is Ketu. So those that say you can't see Rahu, Ketu, I disagree. You can most certainly see Rahu, Ketu, which these are the shadows of the moon, the nodes upon the moon, which are manifested as the shadow.
Wow, it's brilliant. Really brilliant. Like never thought in this way.
And I think during new moon, Rahu is strongest. During full moon, Ketu is strongest. And now, of course, you have to look at where Rahu and Ketu are at any given time. But generally speaking, I think the energy of Rahu is stronger when the moon is less potent. Because the Rahu and moon, they just very strong enemy. Because of this shadow or the dark side of the moon energy, Rahu's karma manifests as a shadow energy, a shadow vibration. This shadow energy of Rahu contains malefic, inauspicious, challenging vibrations. And we're going to talk about both the inauspicious vibration of Rahu and the beneficial, positive vibration of Rahu, especially when we have a powerful positive relationship with this graha. I always like to start with the challenging aspects first and get to the rewards later. So this aspect of the shadow energy, which contains these malefic, inauspicious vibrations, are often associated with illusion, confusion, deception, poisons or toxins, and treachery. And so all of these words have different synonyms, but these are common ways that we understand some of the malefic karma expressions of Rahu, and we'll talk about these in more detail. Often the darker side of Rahu karma, which we're talking about here, which are the challenging energies, and again, Rahu is inherently a malefic force, often considered to be the most malefic force in a chart. Often the darker side of Rahu karma must be properly worked through in order to experience certain rewards or benefits from the positive aspects of Rahu. In other words, those that have not worked through karma with Rahu, then they have very challenging effect of Rahu. You do not experience the auspicious side of Rahu, the beneficial side of Rahu, the positive aspect of Rahu, until you have really worked through the challenging aspect of Rahu as a soul. So if you only experience the malefic or inauspicious effect of Rahu, it shows that maybe in this lifetime, maybe in past lifetime, you haven't really wanted to work on this karma. I was saying earlier to those that were joining in with us early that it is very common that people don't like to work with Rahu. They don't want to improve their planetary Rahu. Why? Because they say Rahu is a demon. I don't want to relate to a demon. I don't want to worship a demon. I don't want to do anything to emphasize my relationship with the demon. But the truth is this shadow or this darker side of the moon that manifests in the universe, this is a manifestation of the reality that we're living in. In traditional Parashara lineage, Rahu is considered one of the Navagraha, one of the 9 major planets. That means it is given equal weight as far as all of the other planets, Sun, Moon, Jupiter, Mercury, Rahu, and Ketu, given the equal amount of power and emphasis. So to say that Rahu doesn't exist, to say that Rahu, we don't want to improve our planetary karma with Rahu, I believe this has very profound karmic consequences. This has very profound karmic challenges. Sometimes the worst thing we can do is pretend that Rahu doesn't exist, because the truth is Rahu does exist. So if you do not honor this existence, which is a force of the universe, then you are denying part of God's creation. You are denying part of this universe that exists. So sometimes I believe that even though people are maybe less disposed to improving their planetary karma with Rahu, that there may not be another planet that is more important in order to complete our spiritual evolution here. So as I mentioned, this working through Rahu karma is relevant to this lifetime, but often, very often where Rahu sits and our karma as relates to it has profound significations for our past lifetimes as well. As a Rahu Lagna who has Rahu in its own nakshatra in the Lagna, this karma with Rahu, it's been present for many, many lifetimes, which means that there have been some aspects of my past lifetimes which have had a Rahu theme to them. And again, I've always felt kind of like an outsider, you know, born in America, not really relating to this country all that much as, you know, a manifestation of me. In other words, I always kind of feel like a stranger no matter where I am. And this is probably a karma that has manifested in more than one lifetime. So this kind of outsider karma, this kind of outsider dharma. So Rahu karma, when we consciously work through it, which means we're honoring Rahu, we're recognizing Rahu's existence, we're understanding Rahu's karma, and we're seeking with awareness in our spiritual sadhana to improve this karma with Rahu. It contains so many powerful, positive, metaphysical vibrations that include the revelation of our purpose. So when we really work through this karma with Rahu, it reveals to us our purpose in the deepest of levels, on the material realm and the spiritual realm. And we'll talk about how that does it. But basically, as we work through these karmas with Rahu, we really are getting to the root of our metaphysical and material purpose here. Rahu karma is extremely connected to foreign lands, foreign and exotic cultures. Rahu loves the foreign and the exotic. Rahu loves the non-traditional. Rahu loves the mystical. And so Rahu karma relates to foreign lands, foreign cultures, the non-traditional, and the mystical. And so an example that I mentioned is not only as having Rahu in the Lagna, am I strongly love to travel, but I have always loved that which is foreign. I have spent times living in other countries, and when I spend times in these other countries, I adopt the culture of these countries. I spent time living in South America, I adopted the South American culture. I spent time living in the Caribbean, I adopted the South American culture. So it shows this connection to the foreign lands as well as these foreign cultures. What does it mean foreign? Something that you're not born into. If you were born in India, then your attraction to America is considered foreign. If you're born in America, your attraction to India is considered foreign. So it is these vibrations here which takes you outside of the land you were born in. It is these vibrations which take you outside of the religion that you were born in. It is these vibrations that take you outside of the culture you were born in and put you into foreign land, religion, cultures. All of these things is a powerful manifestation of Rahu karma. And so later, when we discuss how to improve our planetary karma with Rahu, it is honoring this foreign and exotic vibration that can really help improve our karma with Rahu. As we mentioned earlier, Rahu contains significations of toxicity and poison. This is akin to the story of Rahu. Contrarily, Rahu karma also has profound significations for purification, medicine, and metaphysical healing. This aspect of poison and healing is inseparable. That poison in its right dose actually can be used as a medicine, and medicine used in its improper dose quickly turns into a poison. As you get into Ayurvedic medicine, you learn about the metal therapy. They use mercury, they use silver, they use gold. These are substances which are incredibly toxic to the body. But after going through a heavy level of purification and then used in a very minuscule proper amount, it becomes one of the greatest medicines. When if it wasn't purified and you took too much of it, you would die within 72 hours. So there is this vibration, which is the same substance, which can either be healing or which can be toxic. And so there's this karma that relates to Rahu. How do we understand poisons? How do we understand toxins? How do we understand medicine? How do we understand healing and the relationship between the two? So as someone with very strong Rahu in their chart, I am attracted to poison. I am attracted to these certain poisons. I try to take these poisons and use them as medicine. I try to, like metal therapy, other types of poisons that sometimes can be kind of dangerous. I like to put them through a purification, and I like to use them in the proper amount so they can be used as healing, so they can be used as medicine. And so there is almost this alchemical energy of taking a poison and making it a medicine, and making sure that medicine is consumed in its proper amount so that it remains a medicine. So as I mentioned with the foreign lands, foreign cultures, Rahu karma also represents the full acquisition of our non-traditional mystical or occult power. In other words, Rahu is the full realization of our mystical or occult power. In our sense, what is our spiritual power, our siddhi, all of these vibrations? What is our power which is outside of normal understanding? What is our power which is outside of the tradition that we were born in? You know, for example, my dharma and my gifts are as a Jyotisha in Vedic astrology. This aspect of my life is non-traditional. I was born in the West. So this, where my gifts are, where my greatest mystical and occult gifts are, they're outside of anything that relates to the culture or place I was born into. So this is just an example of how this karma manifests as well, which is that Rahu represents the full acquisition of our non-traditional mystical or occult power. And so those with very strong Rahu in their chart have a very strong possibility as they work through and improve their karma with Rahu to achieve mystical and occult powers. Rahu moves permanently retrograde. Rahu is constantly moving backwards in degrees. Rahu is currently moving backwards through signs. As we talked a little bit about earlier, Rahu is currently in Leo, moving into Cancer, not moving into Virgo because of this permanently retrograde motion. And so a lot of the associations or vibrations or energies of Rahu can seem backwards or reverse. A lot of the times I explain the Rahu karma to my clients and they say, oh, this sounds backward, this sounds reverse. Well, of course it does, because Rahu is permanently reverse. So if anything sounds reverse about Rahu, that is because Rahu is always moving reverse. And so that reversal energy, that backwards vibration energy, is very strong within the manifestation of Rahu karma. Now, what am I really saying when this backwards reverse motion of Rahu? I always say that Rahu shows us who we truly are. Again, our soul's true essence, what we truly want, what we truly need, and what we truly deserve. All of these extremely powerful, positive things. But Rahu shows us this through experiencing the contrary or the opposite. So in other words, Rahu shows us who we are, what we want, what we need, what we deserve, by going through experiences of who we are not, what we don't want, what we don't need, what we don't deserve. So Rahu reveals to us the truth of all of these things. But the only way that the truth is revealed is by the experience of the contrary, is by the experience of the opposite. And that's kind of this vibration of having to go through things the hard way. Another energy which is similar to Saturn, and Rahu is considered akin to Saturn, but this vibration of having to go through things the hard way. Why do you have to experience who you are not to find out who you are? Because Rahu karma. Why do you have to experience what you want, what you need, by experiencing the opposite? Rahu karma. In other words, a very simple example of this is, let's say that someone doesn't like eating peanuts, but they don't know because they've never tried a peanut. Then they try the peanut. They realize that the peanut is not something that they would like to eat, and they never have to eat another peanut again. This is the most simplest example, and it has no meaning, but this is a vibration of, in order to find out what you like to eat, you have to experience what you don't like to eat. This is just an example, but Rahu karma manifests in a bigger way, in that we have to go through experiences in our life at some point, and we may say during those experiences, this is not who I am, this is not what I want, but you didn't really know who you were before you experienced that. So you had to go through that experience to figure it out. So oftentimes with people with strong Rahu karma, people in Rahu Mahadasha, people in, in strong Rahu transit, that they might find themselves in certain experiences. This is not who I am, this is not who I want, but it's going to show you who you are. You may find yourself in certain experiences, this isn't what I like, this isn't what I need, this isn't what I deserve. Like a husband who you thought you loved, and then after being married to him, he began to verbally abuse you, and then he grabbed you. So this is an example of, you thought that this was the person you wanted. Then clearly through the experiences, you realize this isn't what I want, this isn't what I need, this isn't what I deserve. And as a process of that, you realize what you do want, what you do need, what you do deserve. In this example, it would be the right kind of partner who always talks to you kindly, who always talks to you with support, who always talks to you with love, who would never even consider putting his hands on you in an aggressive way. That is what you need, that is what you like, that is what you deserve. But maybe the person who you thought he was, you have to experience that he is not really that person for you to realize this is exactly what you do need or what you do want. So again, a lot of the karmas with Rahu can be very challenging. They can be malefic because we're inherently going through experiences which are contrary to who we are. We're going through experiences which is contrary to what we want, what we need, what we deserve. But there is no better way to figure out exactly who you are than to remove everything which you are not. There is no better way to find out what you need than to remove everything which you don't need. And so there is no better way to find anything out for 100% certain unless we go through Rahu karma. But again, it is inherently connected to having to go through things in this challenging way. Our truest self, in essence, is extremely simple and divine. So there are many philosophers, spiritual teachers, gurus, and they say that our true essence is not very complicated, that our true essence is not very confusing or complicated. It is simple, it is divine, and it is beautiful. And so a lot of the things which we think about ourselves are not really who we are. And so it is the removal of all of these aspects of which we are not that reveals this essence of what we truly are. In other words, once we take away all of the things which we thought we were and we realize which we are not, then all that's left is us. All that's left is our truest self. All is left is our most divine essence. All is left is our most simplest essence. But we have to remove all of these false aspects, these shadow aspects, these dark aspects, to be able to let the light of us, which is our true, simple, divine essence, shine. So in other words, to work through this karma with Rahu is to truly allow that inner divinity and light to shine. But you have to be going through these experiences of, I'm not sure who I am, and I think I might be this. Well, then you have to go towards that thing which you think you might be. And you may find out because of Rahu, that's not really what you want, or what you really want to be, or what you really are. But you have to go through that experience in order to get there.
Very true.
So that permanently retrograde vibration or karma of Rahu really manifests in this experiential vibration. So Rahu karma also creates an austerity. Rahu is often said to give austerity. And a lot of times when people are like, Rahu gives austerity, why would Rahu give austerity? One of the words, translations of austerity is seriousness of thought. So Rahu creates this austerity or seriousness of thought through the challenging karma of having to go through things the hard way or enduring experiences contrary to the individual's true nature or essence. So basically, when you've gone through so many experiences which are contrary to who you are, to what you want, to what you need, to what you deserve, you're done with it. Goodbye. Hello, goodbye. You're saying goodbye to all of these false aspects. And because you had to go through it in such a challenging way, you are extremely clear and strong about who you are and what you do need and what you do deserve. So because you had to go through all of these challenging experiences that are contrary to who you are, it creates a seriousness in the person. It creates an austerity of the person where they are never willing to sacrifice who they are or what they want because they've had to go through so many challenging things in order to get there. So the seriousness of thought, which Rahu empowers through evolution of its karma, can encourage an individual to follow their soul's true path, which is based on your soul's true essence, with astounding clarity, determination, and almost complete certainty. So this austerity that's created when we work through Rahu karma, again, this primarily manifests through Maha Rahu Dasha and Antar Rahu Dasha, that this seriousness of thought, which Rahu empowers, once you remove all of these aspects which are false, it heavily supports you being aligned to your true path. And like I said, this austerity means that you would never sacrifice that for anything. This seriousness or austerity will allow an individual to fully align with what they need, want, or deserve in life with absolute clarity. And as I mentioned, there should be no willingness after a Rahu Mahadasha to sacrifice who you think you are or what you want to do, because you had to go through a very long period of time of figuring that out in a challenging fashion. Another common association with Rahu is it's symbolized as fog and smoke. Okay, Rahu is often symbolized as fog and smoke. This symbol of Rahu is great understanding of the karma of Rahu. So it's important to understand Rahu as fog and smoke to truly understand the full manifestation of the Rahu karma. Now, what do I mean? If you are ever in an environment, whether outside or inside, where you are surrounded in a thick pad of concentrated fog and smoke, it is impossible to see. First of all, this thick fog and smoke makes it incredibly hard to see. And in this thick fog or smoke, it would be considered dangerous to drive. If it's very horrible fog, you cannot drive because you cannot see the car next to you. You cannot see the car behind you. This is an example of, in this fog and smoke, which is related to Rahu, it's not good to drive, okay? It's also not good to travel or venture out. But for the purpose of this analogy, we're understanding it as driving in the fog. Now, this metaphor symbolizes that when it comes to our karmas that relates to Rahu, the future is hidden, obscured, and shrouded from us. So when we're in this thick fog and smoke, we can't see ahead of us. We can't see as ahead of us. And this is an analogy that Rahu karma, as it manifests, keeps away the future, or as I like to say, rips away the future or tears away the future. So this example of Rahu karma, there is so much fog and smoke, and this fog and smoke happens during Rahu Mahadasha, Rahu Antardasha, Rahu Transit, Rahu Lagna, all of these, Rahu Atmakarika, all of these vibrations are very strong of fog and smoke for those kind of significations. And so for people who have that kind of vibration in their chart, the future is stolen from them. Just like how Rahu stole Amrita, the future is stolen from them. So Rahu will take away your future, which is your ability to clearly see it, control it, or manifest the future. In an environment of concentrated thick fog and smoke, it would also be dangerous to backtrack to prior point or to go behind you to somewhere that you need to go. Because if you were to go back, because of all the fog and smoke, you'll never be able to get back to home. You'll never be able to get back to where you were. This analogy is that it might be impossible to fully understand the past, because the past is taken away from us, which means the past is the past for those that have strong Rahu karma. You are not supposed to look in the past. You are not supposed to go in the past, because if you do go in the past, because of Rahu, our ability to see clearly and understand the past clearly is obscured. It's hidden. It's shrouded. And so because of this, the future is hidden from us and the past is hidden from us, which means we cannot accurately see, understand, or discern what the future vibration is or what the past vibration is. Which means if Rahu karma is strong, what you think is the future is lie. What you think of the future is false. What you think of the future is Maya. It's illusion. Because Rahu takes away our ability to accurately see what the future is. So if you think you know what it is, you're just wrong. It is inaccurate. Okay? And this is the form of deception. There is no greater deception, and that thinking your future is different than it actually is going to be. This kind of deception is very painful on the soul of an individual. This kind of confusion as to working everything you are for your future that is not actually what your future is supposed to be. So again, this karma can be very challenging, because usually those with strong Rahu karma, they worry about the future and they worry about the past very strongly. But from a karmic perspective, it is impossible for them to accurately see what the past or the future is. So as there is a constant delusion, there is a constant deception, there is a constant confusion. And so the best thing you can do if Rahu karma is strong is to completely forget about the future and the past, particularly forgetting about any expectations or certainty that you think you have about what that is. Now, when the future is hidden and its clarity taken away, and the past is hidden and the clarity is taken away, I ask the rhetorical question, what's left? When the future is taken and when the past is taken, what is left? What is this guru, Sri Rahu, trying to express to us? What is Rahu trying to convey to us? And this does not matter where Rahu is in your chart. This does not matter what Rahu sign is in. All that matters is what is Rahu trying to convey when the future is taken away and the past is taken away from our ability to accurately perceive. I believe that all that's left is the moment. When the future is taken away and the past is taken away, all that's left is the moment. So what is this guru, Rahu, trying to convey? To live in the moment. This is a value, a metaphysical value that all the great gurus and spiritual teachers say. There was a huge consciousness shift in the 1960s and 70s here from Vedic thought and culture, which is about being here now. And then there are also many philosophies and theories like Eckhart Tolle about the power of now. But basically, one of the most powerful spiritual lessons that any soul here on earth can learn is how to live in the moment, how to live in this day, how to live in this hour, how to live in this minute, how to live in this second, without constantly being preoccupied about the future, without constantly being preoccupied of past. So this Rahu karma is extremely positive, because I believe there is no better teacher of us for how to live in the moment, because there is no ability to accurately perceive the future or the past. And so when those things are completely taken away from us, we have no choice but to live in the moment. My astrology teacher says, you better live in the moment because you have no choice. So this is a vibration here of really, I think, one of the most positive metaphysical aspects of Rahu, which is to teach our souls, while it's incarnated in this physical form, how to live in a moment-to-moment consciousness.
Extremely true. Well said.
And so before I move on, thank you, Madhuraji. Before I move on, I just want to say that Rahu is often considered a demon. But I love Rahu, and I would not say Rahu is any more demon than angel. Rahu, during its mythology, had achieved God realization. It had become immortal by drinking the Amritam. Yeah, there was some deception in that process. Yeah, there was some confusion in that process. Yeah, there was some misleading in the process. But what was the end result? Complete realization of its godlike vibration. And so because of that, I think we can also understand Rahu as an angel. We don't have to understand Rahu as only a demon. So I like to differentiate that based on our consciousness, based on our spirituality, Rahu karma will either manifest in our lifetime as an angelic karma or as a demonic karma. And you have to understand this vibration of Rahu to fully manifest its angelic karma. And so I say that Rahu is a demon to those individuals who are constantly preoccupied and attempting to control the future and the past. When we are constantly preoccupied and thinking about the future and the past, this is when Rahu really like to act demon, because you are not learning any of the lesson which Rahu is trying to teach you, which is to live in the moment and surrender this past or the future. So that Rahu really acts like a demon if you are constantly thinking about and worrying about and trying to control the future or the past, which because of Rahu karma, you cannot accurately perceive. And so because of this vibration, Rahu will cause destruction. Rahu will cause chaos. Rahu will cause disorder. Rahu will even cause accident and death. Because if we are trying to control the future or control or understand the past, when it is impossible to accurately perceive, then we are creating karma. That is the nature of the creation of karma, is that something that is not intended for us, which is our dharma, is being created, which is out of falseness, which is out of illusion, which is out of deception. And so this is when Rahu will really cause destruction. Oh, you want to move to Hawaii because you think that Hawaii is the place that you're meant to be for the rest of your life. And so you buy a house in Hawaii thinking you're going to spend the rest of your life there as soon as you go into Rahu Mahadasha. And just for the sake of the example, let's say Rahu 4th house. So you move to Hawaii thinking your whole life and future is there. Well, after 3 weeks, you come home from dinner and your entire house is on fire, completely burned, nothing left of it. Because you tried to control the future instead of just being in the moment. You put all of your eggs in this one basket, which you thought was your future. But the truth is that God or the universe, or however you want to understand it, has a different plan. And so when you do your plan instead of God's plan, this is your will over God's will. And we are always supposed to put God's will over our will. And so this is the demonic nature of Rahu, which when we put our will over God's will cause unbounding destruction and chaos in one's life. But again, this is just like it is really a spiritually evolutionary energy, but it is just manifesting as extremely painful lessons here. Now, I also say that Rahu is angel. Rahu is guru. Rahu is deva, Varaha deva. This vibration of the higher nature of Rahu, the angelic nature of Rahu, is rewarded to those who have fully understand how to live in the moment, how to live in the day, how to live in the hour, how to live in the minute, and ideally live second to second to second to second. And again, our consciousness moves too quick in the Kali Yuga to understand 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. But this is truly how the powerful, most powerful manifestation of living in the moment. And so when we can fully live in the moment, Rahu is like an angel, not only rewarding us with spiritual evolution, gaining more insight into our dharma, gaining more insight into our true nature, but also when we surrender this future, Rahu has powerful indications to helping us on the material realm. Like Ketu is associated with the spiritual realm more than the material. Rahu is associated more with the material realm than the spiritual. And so because of this vibration, when we actually live in the moment, as far as our material purpose, then that is when the greatest rewards ever happen. So in a sense, our material rewards are also really great by Rahu when we live in the moment. And again, just to summarize that point, Rahu is a demon who will cause unbounding chaos and destruction in your life if you prioritize, see, control, or think you know what the future is. If you go back in the past and you try to understand something which was very confusing, which happened in the past, it will just cause more confusion. Rahu will also cause a lot of chaos and unbounding terror for going in the past. But for those that live in the moment, 1 day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 second at a time, Rahu is this great angel rewarding you with not only spiritual reward, but material reward as well. One of the ancient Vedic descriptions of Rahu, which we chanted in the beginning of our class today, is that Rahu is the commander of direction, or the controller of direction. This can be interpreted in many ways. This title bestowed upon Rahu has profound metaphysical implications. Rahu makes us worry, obsess, and fixate on all aspects of our life which we have no influence or control over. Again, this is challenging because inherently Rahu is testing us, encouraging us to worry, obsess, and fixate on everything in life which we can do nothing about. So we can't do anything about it, and nonetheless, Rahu makes us worry about it. In other words, in order for us to get past this karma, we can't not worry about it. That's not working through the karma. We can't not obsess about it. That's not working through the karma. We can't not fixate on it. That's not working through the karma. We have to understand where our consciousness worries, obsesses, and fixates on things. And then we have to work through that karma to realize we have no influence, we have no control, we cannot do anything about these things which we worry and obsess over. And once we work through that karma, that's how we improve the karma from that aspect. Rahu is often described as an archer. And so there are many images of Rahu in which he is yielding a beautiful bow and arrow. And this analogy is very good at understanding the karma of Rahu as well. Rahu, who pulls his arrow and shoots it in the direction which he has set his sight on and commanded. Again, Rahu is the commander of direction. And so as an archer, he sees the future. Rahu takes away the future from us, but the Graha Rahu can see everything. Again, this is part of its karma that it manifests. So it takes its arrow and it shoots it in this direction, which is our future, which is our fate, which Rahu has commanded and directed. This metaphor signifies that all of the aspects of life which we are concerned about, which we obsess about, and we attempt to control or influence, have already been determined in a finite fate sort of way. So there are, in Jyotish, there are many ways of understanding fate. Often the people think there is a disagreement, that we either live in a world of fate or that we live in a world of free will. But as you understand Jyotish more, you understand that both are present. One of the karmas that we manifest is that actions have a reaction, action have a consequence, actions create other things. But also karma is a possibility. When we're looking at a Jyotish chart, we're looking at a map of all of these possibilities. And all of these possibilities based on these alignments could be different. And based on free will choices and decisions that we make, we influence which possibility our soul aligns to. But there is also our dharma, which is our fate, which is what God has created us here. So there are possibilities of karmas which we influence based on our decisions. And then there are also karmic aspects which relate to our dharma, which we have no influence over. And so this aspect of free will and fate are not mutually exclusive. They both exist in harmony with each other. And I think our mind often thinks dualistically. If this exists, then this must not exist. If this must not exist, if my religion is right, then your religion must be wrong. And this kind of thinking has got us nowhere. It is important that we understand that both of things can coexist together. And so anyway, as getting back into this Rahu shot its arrow at our fate. Rahu shot its arrow at our fate, which means our fate to a certain aspect as relates to Rahu is already determined, which means our destination, how the karma manifests at the end of the Rahu Mahadasha, at the end of our Rahu return, how this karma manifests is already chosen. Nothing we can do will make any difference. No choices we make, no decisions we make, nothing we do is going to have any influence over what Rahu has already commanded, over what Rahu has already controlled. And Rahu sees the direction of all things. So it is this energy as the commander of direction, the controller of direction, is about that Rahu has already shot its arrow at our fate. And yet we are to worry and be nervous and be concerned about what it is, even when it's already decided, even when it's already set in stone, even when that direction has already been set. Our fate in the relates to Rahu has already been set. And nonetheless, we worry about it. We obsess about it. We stress about it. We're anxious about it. We're nervous about it. All of these karmas manifest with Rahu. And yet at the same time, there's nothing we can do. We're made to worry about them, and there's nothing that we can do about it. It will manifest how it's meant to. And so this direction and destination, as mentioned, has already been chosen and guaranteed by Rahu's vibration as the commander or controller of direction. And even though we cannot see our future, and we are constantly worrying about it and anxious about it and obsessing about it as relates to Rahu. If Rahu's in the second house, worrying about money. If Rahu's in the 10th house, worrying about career. If Rahu's in the, seventh house, worrying about our relationship. And yet that karma is already set. It's already our fate. So best not to worry about it. But this is the catch-22 because Rahu makes you worry about it. So you have to not only experience what you are worrying, what you are nervous, what you are anxious about, but you have to realize that some of that vibration is already set. And so there's no use in worrying about it. It will only cause you chaos. Let's say someone started their Rahu Mahadasha and Rahu is in 7th house. And they are 35 years old and they still not married. Well, odds are that when Rahu Mahadasha begins, they will become very worried about getting married. They will become very worried about finding their partner, being with their partner. Oh, how do I find this person? Do I need to go on dating website? Do I need to talk to my father? Do I need to talk to my mother? Do I need to talk to my uncle? Do I need to ask my guru? Worry, worry, worry. I'm 35, I'm getting older, and I have never been married, and I want to find my partner. I want to find my soulmate. This is all this worry. But most likely, because of the Rahu arrow and the commander of direction, by the end of the Rahu period, they will already be married. And it's possible because of Rahu, they will get married during that Rahu period, and then they will get divorced later. But not always, depending on the position of Rahu and other aspects. It could be a very beneficial marriage that lasts a whole lifetime. And yet, when that is supposed to happen, how it's supposed to happen, the vibration surrounding it, they're going to align around that vibration. And so you worrying about it is only making it worse. You being concerned about it is only making it worse. You being obsessed about it is only making it worse. So again, even though this activation makes a person worry, oh, when will I get married? When will I find this partner? When I am so lonely, I need to be with this person. That the day you're supposed to meet this person and fall in love is already specific and a fate that you are supposed to experience in your lifetime. So again, there's this dichotomy for this area which we are worried and concerned about, and our ability to surrender all control of it. Another description of Rahu karma that I like to mention is that Rahu has a strong connection to our past lifetime experiences. What does that mean? Just like Rahu in the mythology was craving to drink the Amrita so he could experience eternal life, so he could experience this infinite experiences. And so wherever Rahu in the chart, it represents this desire for experience, because Rahu wanted infinite experiences in his eternal form, Samhita. And this vibration of the soul's bucket list, it carries through many lifetimes. What do I mean is that there are certain experiences which our soul wants to go through, needs to go through, until it's ready to moksha. And remember, there is a relationship between Rahu and Ketu, and Ketu is moksha karaka. And so we're getting at the vibration of that relationship as well. But where Rahu sits in one's chart, the karmas that relates to Rahu, it means that your soul still has certain experiences that it wants to have before it is even ready to fathom the concept of moksha. In other words, our soul has to live a full life in many lifetimes and have many experiences before it's ready to not be reincarnated anymore. In other words, our soul is thirsty for experiences of life, and until we experience those, until we quench the thirst of those experiences which our soul is thirsty for, we are not ready for our highest spiritual evolution. We still have to go through these experiences of life. Someone like me with Rahu and Lagna, I know my whole life is about just going through these experiences, having more experiences, that my soul desires to have all these type of diverse, profound experiences that I believe in my past lifetimes what my soul was not allowed to have. We currently live in a time of technology, and Rahu is indicated technology where we can communicate all around the world. How blessed are we that in this time that we have people joining from us from all these different countries, and that this organization is centered out of Mumbai, India. This is so amazing, and that is only possible now in this time that we're living in. So there are so many experiences that we only get to experience as a humanity now. And so I know my Rahu in the Lagna has a lifetime of experiencing what is possible to experience. I look at people's chart, I say, oh, you can be prepared for moksha. You can be prepared for transcendence. Maybe you are ready to end this cycle of reincarnation. But I'll be the first one to say that I'm not afraid to admit that I am not going to experience this in this lifetime. because my soul, as relates to all of this Rahu karma in my chart, has so many experiences that it needs to have before it's ready, that I don't even think it will even be able to get to all of those experiences in this lifetime. So again, it can show the amount of experience you need to have on the material realm, on the physical realm, in your body, in life, before you're ready for your highest level of spiritual realization. Similar to how Rahu craved the Amrita nectar, in relationship for his desire for eternal life and divine realization, the Rahu karma in a Jyotish chart will show us where our most intense cravings are, and desire for experiences. And these experiences must be investigated and worked through from a karmic perspective in order for our highest material and spiritual realization. So again, if Rahu is in the second house, your soul craves and desires artha, material prosperity, material wealth, finances. And until your soul or life experiences some level of wealth, which is the rewards of the second house, you will not be able to fully evolve to your spiritual level, because this, on the deepest level, is what your soul is experiencing. Again, your soul is, the karma with Rahu shows where your soul's deepest desires are for experiences. And this experience must be experienced. This desire for experience, this thirst for experience, it has to be experienced. It has to go, you have to go through it in order for your soul to really be satisfied, in order to go to its next level of spiritual evolution. So until we work through our karma with Rahu, I believe our spiritual evolution is limited. Okay, so that's just a little bit of the analysis of the karma with Rahu. And as we get more into the positions of Rahu, the alignments of Rahu, we'll talk about some other karmas. But that is a lot of different ways of understanding Rahu and its karma that we can utilize in our consciousness to help improve our planetary relationship with Rahu. So I hope that was beneficial for everybody.
Yes, definitely.
So Rahu's current transit. Rahu's current transit in Leo began January 30th, 2016 of last year, and ends August 17th, which I believe is in 5 days. So this transit is at a huge shift, or it's at a huge cusp. And so it is very important. So this vibration is very significant because it is empowered by the cusp. In other words, we just went through a lunar eclipse not so long ago. And if you were looking at a Jyotish chart, that lunar eclipse actually took place certain degrees from each other. It was K2 and the moon eclipse, the south node of the moon and the moon eclipse. But when that happened, K2 was still technically in Aquarius. And the moon was still in Capricorn. But because of this cusp vibration, it is bringing so much energy to the next constellation that it's in, that the eclipse is still manifesting, even though there might be 5 degrees of separation in the chart. So Rahu's upcoming in transit in Cancer begins August 18th, 2017, and ends March 7th, 2019. Now, it's very interesting when Rahu is in Leo and Cancer, because some of the ancient, so Rahu's 2 greatest enemy are the sun and the moon. Those are Rahu's 2's greatest enemy. And so Leo, the current transit, is ruled by the sun, and Rahu's upcoming transit in Cancer is ruled by the moon. So very, very, very enemy position for Rahu. Now, what does that mean as far as its manifestation? We can look at these qualities, and we'll also look at these qualities when we talk about the dignity. But Leo is the sign of power, and I'm just going to touch on these. Leo is the sign of power, the full alignment of our soul's power, our leadership, our will, our strength, our courage, our confidence, the manifestation of our soul's desires, our ability to empower ourselves into positions where we are organizing, our ability to empower ourselves in positions of leadership, our ability to empower itself in positions of command. And then with Rahu being the shadow planet, being the dark side of the moon, creating deception, confusion, often associated with desire. So this desire vibration, this incredible, unquenchable desire, this thirst, is being conjunctioned with power, is being conjunction with leadership. So what you are having is power thirst. People are thirsty for power. If you can't, this is very, I shouldn't talk too much about politics because I know everyone has different politic belief. But it is very obvious that there is a desire for power from our leaders across the universe. This desire for power, my guns are bigger than yours. My bombs are bigger than yours. This is this manifestation of this dark power energy. And so there is threat of war. Currently in my country, there is threat of war between North Korea and the United States. Part of the reason this is manifestation is because Rahu Leo. This combination of the dark side of the moon and the accumulation of power. So there's this vibration here that I consider Rahu and Leo to be one of the most malefic or negative positions because it allows power to grow in a dark way. It allows strength to be grown and those people to deceive others. So where there is power, there is also deception. And so when you have Rahu and Leo, these forces of power and strength and leadership and deception and confusion and misleading, and they're inseparable. And I know this is manifesting in my country. I'm sure this is manifesting in everyone's countries in some ways. Usually power and darkness are actually inseparable. They say that where there is power, there is also corruption. But this conjunction of Rahu and Leo makes corruption and power at this time more great than ever. So you have to be very confused about who is the leader, who is in power, who is in command here, and what level of deception and confusion is going on here. You have to be able to question things because this vibration means that if we don't question things, then we may be being deceived by those that are in positions of authority of power. Now, with Rahu's upcoming transit in Cancer, this begins August 18th, ends March 7, 2019. It is actually said in the ancient text that Rahu splits the moon. And so in the background of this PowerPoint, you have a beautiful bearded Rahu, and he has snake eyes, and it's very powerful. And as you can see, in his left hand, he has one side of the moon, and in his right hand, he has the other side of the moon. Rahu has split the moon in two. Rahu eats the sun, and he splits the moon. This vibration of splitting the moon, I believe that Rahu is the greatest and the moon are the greatest enemies. So Rahu has no greater enemy than the moon. Because Rahu splits the moon in two. There's a reason the rishis thought this thousands of years ago. And so we're in this current transit till the spring of 2019, March 7, 2019. And so as I will go into detail, I believe this to be the debilitation of a of Rahu. Now, there are other theories of which I've been educated about the debilitation, so I won't say that Rahu is only debilitated in Cancer, but I believe energetically, karmically, Rahu to be heavily debilitated in Cancer. Cancer is the sign of the emotion. Cancer is the sign of feeling. Cancer is the sign of love of the home and the family, of the connection to the home, connection to the mother, sympathy, empathy, and compassion. It's our emotional. It's the space between our mind, the manas, and the heart. That space and the relationship and the connection between the two. Rahu, being deception, confusion, all of these dark shadow vibrations, is heavily malefic on the emotional paradigm. Rahu in Cancer is one of the most malefic conjunctions because, as we mentioned with the Rahu karma, it makes you worry, be nervous, be anxious about all of these aspects of life, which we have no control over. But if Rahu is in Cancer, you feel that so strong, it makes you want to cry. If Rahu is in Cancer, this aspect of the worry, it is affecting your emotion. You are depressed. You have anxiety attack. You have all of these issues because Rahu affecting the emotional nature of the person so profound can make it so you are constantly worrying, nervous, anxiety, and there is nothing you can do about it. This is why I think Rahu is debilitated in Cancer, because some of these natives have an inability to control their level of emotional stress.
Yes.
So now we'll talk a little bit about Rahu and planetary dignity. Now, as I mentioned a little bit earlier on, there's some controversy. There's controversy as relates to Rahu and planetary dignity. Some people say Rahu exalted Gemini, debilitated in Sagittarius. Some say that Rahu exalted in Taurus, debilitated in Scorpio. Some people say Rahu exalted in Scorpio, debilitated in Taurus. Some say Rahu is exalted in Aquarius. So there are many, many different theories. And similarly to what I encouraged during the K2 webinar, I encourage this kind of thinking or consciousness around the exaltation and debilitation and planetary dignity. Because there are so many different theories, I think you have to go a little deeper. I think you have to go deeper than the sign, and you have to look at the vibration, the bhava of the nakshatra which the nodes fall in. The nakshatras become especially important to the nodes. Now, the nakshatras are extremely important for the planets, but I think we can understand the exaltations and debilitations of Rahu dignity through the nakshatras. So again, Rahu, I think, is very good in Aquarius. But at a certain degree in Aquarius, it's Satabisha nakshatra, which is Rahu's own nakshatra. This is most closer to exaltation of Rahu. So I believe Rahu to always be extremely exalted, and again, I use this term pejoratively, but I believe Rahu to be exalted in its own nakshatra. This includes Satabisha, Swati, Ardra, all of the nakshatras which Rahu relates to. It is very important to understand this is a very auspicious alignment, and not to worry about the debate. Rahu might be exalted in this sign, Rahu might be debilitated in this sign. Let's not worry about this debate as much and look more at the vibration of the nakshatra which Rahu is in. And so if there is some confusion over your everyone who's watching this, your chart, whether Rahu is debilitated or exalted in the sign that you have, and I'll talk about that, but look deeper at the nakshatra which Rahu in as well. So again, these are a combination of, as I'm going to present these dignities, based on the Parashara lineage, which I was educated on, and I studied those texts and texts related to that lineage, as well as because my Rahu is very strong, I create my own theories. I'm very innovative. I like to reflect my own understanding based on how I feel intuitively about these things. So we'll talk about both, and it's a combination there. So I believe that Rahu is exalted in two signs, Taurus and Aquarius. Why is Rahu exalted in Taurus? Well, Rahu exalted in Taurus is extremely beneficial materially, okay? Rahu in Taurus is extremely challenging, or it can be very hard spiritually or for the spiritual evolution of an individual. So I put two exaltations of Rahu because I believe one to be exalted materially and one to be exalted spiritually. So when you look at the material exaltation of Rahu in Taurus, it's important to note that Rahu only has two friends, although some people believe Jupiter to be a friend of Rahu as well. But because of Guru Chandal Yoga and the karmas as relate to it, I believe that to be a neutral relationship like Mercury. I believe that Rahu's true friends are Venus and Saturn. And so Rahu has a certain auspicious vibration when it's in Saturn sign and when it's in Venus sign, because Rahu is friend with those planets. And so they work together often, and they are often manifesting similar lessons as well. When you look at Rahu in Taurus, Taurus is the sign of accumulation. Taurus is the sign of possession. Taurus is the sign of the accumulation and the possession of the material world. Money, finances, Taurus has a connection for jewels, jewelry, gems, gold, silver, all of these things. It's also connected to our ability to have stability and security in things that we possess and acquire. So usually these people like to possess good finances, good jobs, a stable relationship, a stable career. I often say with the Taurus vibrations, things only have their beauty or value insofar as they provide stability and security in one's life. And so because of this Rahu and Taurus vibration, I believe that Rahu is that thirst. We talked about that unquenchable thirst, that incredible desire for experiences. And so this conjunction of Rahu and Taurus makes someone incredibly, let's say, predisposed, incredibly aligned to this potential of the full manifestation of their material wealth, their ability to possess and acquire. And because this desire for experiences, because this thirst for accumulation is very strong and often considered exalted position for Rahu, that those that have Rahu and Taurus have this great potential to achieve profound financial and material success. My country's current president, Donald Trump, has Rahu and Taurus in his 10th house, which is Artha, prosperity, success, and career. He was a millionaire very early in his life, then a multimillionaire. And so this vibration is just an example of Rahu and Taurus is extremely beneficial materially. That doesn't mean that if you have Rahu and Taurus, you're automatically millionaire. Depending on the house Rahu is in, other aspects, the nakshatra, they can all increase the signification or decrease the signification. But I believe there is no better material conjunction for Rahu than in Taurus. Now, the other exaltation I want to look at is Rahu in Aquarius, which is its ruler is Saturn. And again, Rahu is akin to Saturn. And so there is a very powerful relationship between Rahu and Saturn. Some believe that Rahu in Aquarius, that Aquarius is the natural sign of Rahu. And that, in other words, no sign really possesses the same energetic vibration as Rahu like Aquarius. So it's of the sign, it's the closest which can be related to the nature of Rahu as a planet. For those that have Rahu in Aquarius, that there is this experience of having to go through experiences in order, this thirst. But Aquarius has to do with the advancement of human consciousness. Aquarius has the ability to see the future, to bring innovation. Aquarius is the sign of innovation. Rahu is the planet of profound innovation. This combination of the innovative nature of Aquarius and innovative Rahu makes for an incredibly auspicious alignment, that wherever Rahu is, these natives tend to bring profound innovation. They tend to be able to see what the future is, as far as what the kind of the advancement of human consciousness is. And usually those people with Rahu and Aquarius, they're considered very liberal individual. They usually fall on the liberal perspective. I am an incredibly liberal person. So this combination of Rahu and Aquarius, it makes for a very liberal, innovative position where someone is trying to see, okay, this is what the future has. This is what the future has in store. And then how can we bring this in a way that is going to be creative? How can we bring this in a way that is going to be innovative? So I believe that Rahu to be exalted in Aquarius, which means I believe it carries a very auspicious energy because it causes the transformation of consciousness. This causes this transformation of consciousness in a way that the world is not used to. And when those natives with the Rahu and Aquarius bring that transformation of consciousness into the world, it's like lighting light bulbs, popcorn kernels going off. There is this consciousness which is advanced, which is liberal, which is evolved, which is being activated by this energy. So it's very in causing the evolution of consciousness, this vibration. Rahu debilitation. Now again, from an ancient perspective, I was taught that Rahu is debilitated in Scorpio. This vibration of Rahu and Mars being kind of a very malefic conjunction, being a very negative conjunction. And it's pretty tough in Aries too, but not as tough as it is in Scorpio. One of the reasons this is because Scorpio is about putting action and energy to those things which we are curious about, to those things which we don't know about, which is those things which we are uninformed about. Mars, its ruler, is the planet of action and energy. And so Scorpio is this investigation of these things with action and energy, which we don't know about, which we are curious about. When you combine the vibration of Rahu, which is the dark side of the moon, which is deception, which is confusion, which is craving, which is desire, which is thirst, you are constantly putting desires and cravings and dark, shadowy vibration into action. Mars is already a tamasic planet. Rahu is a tamasic planet unless it is held by higher spiritual vibration. And so when Scorpio has this action and curiosity towards certain things, and Rahu is making that tamasic. So I believe this to be a very inauspicious or a debilitated alignment, because usually these people are be attracted to things that are not necessarily positive. Again, there is a higher side of these things of Rahu and Scorpio. Some natives with Rahu and Scorpio, they find very non-traditional thinking, and they kind of innovate towards that non-tradition. But the issue with that is that usual non-traditional thing, it's a very extremely small minority of things. So they completely eliminate themselves from society. This can sometimes happen. So it is important to note that Rahu and Scorpio, it can be very inauspicious because you might have a desire to investigate things that are not necessarily positive, maybe drug, alcohol, kind of dark practices that I don't even want to talk about. But there could be a disposition, sexual things that are not normal, like fetishes and things like that. There is a vibration here where it makes you kind of predisposed to being curious and investigating things, which might not necessarily be who you are, but which might not necessarily be what you want, be what you need, be what you deserve. And it can put things in action that are adharmic, away from dharma, by this Scorpio vibration. So again, I believe this to be malefic. Sometimes people with Rahu and Scorpio, they can be attracted to types of politics that no one else relate to. Like certain people I read with Rahu and Scorpio, they are atheists. Certain people I believe with Rahu and Scorpio, they are anarchists, which mean they don't believe in law. They also don't believe in society. So this is that vibration which I'm talking about, is it makes you very curious about these things which are very outside of society. So again, this could be very positive spiritually. If someone takes that vibration and moves it into investigation of mysticism, even though it will take them outside of the world or society, it can have a strong indication for spiritual evolution. But if it's not taken in a spiritual direction, it can just kind of leave someone being on the outskirts of society and really having no way to relate to it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Rahu in Cancer, I also believe the debilitation, because Rahu splits the moon. Rahu separates the moon in two. This is showing an incredibly negative or malefic relationship between Rahu and the moon. And so Rahu in Cancer is extremely difficult because Cancer is the sign of the emotional nature of the person, the feelings of the person, the home, the family, the mother. And so when Rahu is there, it can bring difficult karmas or difficult challenges in that area, which makes us worry, anxious, nervous about these aspects of Cancer, like our family. Maybe things in the family aren't good. We worry and are anxious about that. Maybe things in the home aren't good. We're worried and anxious about that. But it really makes the emotional nature of the person extremely vulnerable. And that is why Rahu in Cancer can often be linked to obsessive compulsive disorder. Because Rahu is constantly trying to figure things out, which it has no idea about. And the Cancer is the emotional nature of the person. So usually they obsess about things. And OCD is a very challenging psychological disease that is characterized by one's ability to worry and obsess about things which make no difference. Often these people clean their hands 50 times. Often these people count in their head 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. They have to touch the left side of the table, then they have to touch the right side of the table, and then the right side of the table and the left side of the table. It's like this constant war in the consciousness of worry, anxiety, and nervousness. And this is one of the main reasons I believe Rahu to be debilitated in Cancer. Usually these natives have some level of obsessive and compulsive behavior. So talking a little bit about more auspicious dignities, we're going to talk about Rahu in Gemini, and we're going to talk about Rahu in Virgo. Some Vedic philosophers believe that Rahu is exalted in Gemini and that it is also a favorable position in Virgo. I believe a Virgo to be favorable in both Gemini and Virgo, that it creates some auspicious energy. But I don't believe it to be exalted, because when you go and look at the planetary relationships, Rahu is friend with Saturn, great friend with Saturn. Rahu is good friend with Venus. Rahu is okay friend with Jupiter. But Rahu is considered neutral with Mercury. And because Rahu is considered neutral with Mercury, I don't necessarily understand Rahu and Gemini as the most auspicious alignment. But nonetheless, I do honor it as favorable. Why is Rahu favorable in Gemini and Mercury? Well, because those signs are why is Rahu favorable in Gemini and Virgo? Because those signs are ruled by Mercury. And Mercury is the planet of buddhi in Sanskrit, which is the discretionary factor of our consciousness, that which analyzes, that which computates, that which understands. And so Rahu has this incredible thirst, has this incredible desire for all of these profound infinite experiences. And when this desire, this thirst, this craving attaches to the intellectual, to the buddhi, really that is a harmonious conjunction, because the desire for intelligence for those that are aligned in this are great. Those that have Rahu and Gemini, those that have Virgo, they are extremely thirsty for knowledge. They are extremely thirsty for teaching. They are extremely thirsty for information. The difference between Gemini and Virgo is that thirst with Virgo usually goes to one specific thing or a couple specific things. So one's thirst, as far as their intelligence goes, okay, maybe they're very extremely gifted at math and writing. These are two examples of Rahu and Virgo that is very possible. Now, when Rahu is in Gemini, that intelligence goes to a wide variety of things. That desire goes to a wide variety of things, because Gemini is extremely varietal. It has incredible diversity. And so this is why I believe that some believe that Rahu is exalted in Gemini, because it takes all of that vibration of that thirst for knowledge, that thirst for information, the desire to use the intelligence, the desire to understand, the wanting to know, and it expands it across many, many, many different things. So usually those with Rahu and Gemini have a diverse, varietal amount of knowledge and information. And no matter what knowledge or information they possess, which should be of great variety, they will still be wishing to add more desire, more variety, more knowledge of things that are kind of bringing in this really diverse box of tools as far as your knowledge and information goes. Yes?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Rahu does relate to Mercury very well, I think. And so right now we have a conjunction of Rahu and Mercury. Some believe when Rahu is conjunct with other planets, for this to be malefic. And this is actually a favorable conjunction that we're experiencing right now. Yeah, it has certain challenges, because Mercury is the planet of communication, and that Rahu is deception. So a lot of the things that we're hearing at this time, or that we're being told, they may not be completely true. There may be some deception there. There may be some misleading there. There may be something confusion there. And so that's the more challenging side. But on the positive side, we're communicating in ways that we never have communicated before. This innovative aspect of Rahu and the intelligence of the communication of Mercury, we're being, our minds, our buddhi is being attracted to the non-traditional. Our buddhi is being attracted to the mystical, to the occult. So I think this has a very positive vibration too, because Mercury is related to our rational, logical part of our consciousness, the right side of our brain. And Rahu is related to the mystical and non-traditional. And so this is a very positive time for people who are logical, who are rational, who are intellectual beings, to open up their consciousness to the spiritual, mystical, and non-traditional. So it's a good time for a kind of allowing those people that are too mental to open up to the spiritual. I believe that Rahu is auspicious in Capricorn, definitely not as auspicious as Aquarius, however. Now, again, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and that Capricorn has this strong vibration of having to, it has to do with prosperity. It has to do with success. It has to do with achievement. But in order to gain those things, we have to go through adversity. We have to go through delays. We have to go through tests. We have to go through challenges. And so Rahu is already a planet of having to go through things the hard way. And then Capricorn is a sign which relates to having to go through things the hard way. So the malefic or challenging side of this vibration is there's definitely going to be having to go through some things the hard way. There's going to be adversity, there's going to be tests, there's going to be challenges that are contrary to who you are and what you want, and it's going to be very difficult at times. The auspicious vibration of this is that Rahu and Capricorn, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, Rahu and Capricorn relate well together. And so they say that Saturn is a planet that delays, but it never denies. And so Rahu, being this incredible desire and thirst for experiences, that it really adds this quality to an individual which they will not give up. When times get tough, they are strong. And when they see adversity, those with Rahu and they will get adversity when Rahu is in Capricorn, but it might not be that challenging for them, or it might not be challenging as for them as it would be with someone else with a similar adversity, because that vibration of Rahu and Capricorn, it knows how to handle that adversity. It is determined. It is not giving up. It is not surrendering. Again, austerity. It is very serious, this conjunction, about overcoming adversity. And when you do overcome that adversity, again, profound rewards exist. Rahu in Libra, I believe to also be a favorable position. Again, Libra's ruler Venus is a friend of Rahu. Libra is a sign of balance. And so, again, the challenging aspect of this karma is that you have to go through experiences which take you out of balance. And this could show many experiences in one's life which are not balanced. Rahu in Libra has a special indication to individuals who consume excessive amounts of things. These are and again, at other times, it may lead them to sobriety or abstinence from things. But basically, that this combination of Libra, because of balance, and Rahu being deception or confusion, that often these people are confused about how to be balanced, and they have to go through experiences of being not balanced in order to find out what they need to be balanced. In other words, these people at might one time in their lives drink too much, drink every day. They develop some kind of addiction to alcohol, and then they have to be sober for the rest of their life in order to find balance and harmony. So again, this signification is very auspicious. Libra is art, music, entertainment, all of the beautiful things about Venus. Rahu is innovation. So these people are very creatively innovative. These people are extremely artistic. They have a lot to express and are very gifted in their expressive abilities. These people make for amazing artists, musicians, actors, poets, all sorts of things in art, music, and entertainment. There was recently a great musician here in the United States named Chester Bennington, and he was the lead singer of a band called Linkin Park, very popular in the year 2000 and on. And I loved this band when I was younger. And recently, he had actually committed suicide. About 4 weeks ago, he took his own life. I will talk about him because it really conveys the vibrations of Rahu and Libra. He was a Rahu Libra Lagna. Okay, so these Rahu Libra vibrations were with him his entire lifetime. Now, he was an extremely gifted musician. His voice so beautiful, he could sing like an angel. And oftentimes he did sing with a very beautiful, feminine, angelic voice. Also, because of Rahu, if he wished to, he also can sing like demon. He sings in a dark voice, and he yells, and he screams, and he's throwing his head around and everything. So this is another vibration too, which is that artistic expression because of Rahu having a dark energy, having a shadow energy, but the Libra vibration also showing this great beneficial artistic light vibration. So he often fluctuated in his singing as far as being in a very like light, almost feminine voice, and being in a dark, demonic, masculine voice. So he kind of went in these two realms, and that shows the Rahu and that shows the Libra. As far as the content of the music, it was a lot about life being very challenging, going through many experiences that are challenging, like Rahu, and overcoming those challenges and seeing the beauty in it, seeing the beauty in life, seeing the meaning in life, seeing the value in life. So his music was very both dark, and that he said that life does, nothing in life matters. Life is so much pain. And then he would say, but if you can work through that, then you will achieve beauty. You will achieve happiness. So again, he carried this vibration of Rahu and Libra. Now, as far as the suicide goes, very, very sad. But sometimes that karma with Rahu, when it's strong in the Lagna, Rahu represents discontentment. And so those that have Rahu in the first house often have to struggle with discontentment on some level for their entire life. And so he was trying to help people with something that he struggled with, which is the desire to be happy, the desire to live, how do I find contentness? And eventually that struggle with him was so strong that he could no longer take it anymore, and he had to take his own life. And so, again, this is the more challenging aspect. And again, Rahu in Libra, because of the balance of the scales of Libra, it can be malefic as well. But again, the auspicious side, incredibly gifted as far as his expression in the arts. One of the most profound creative souls. As we move on now and discuss a little bit about Rahu as relates to the Jupiter signs of Sagittarius and Pisces. Now, some Vedic philosophers believe that Rahu to be in a favorable position in Sagittarius and Pisces, and others believe that Rahu is debilitated in Sagittarius. Again, that is why it is not so black and white, and you have to look at the specific energies that are created instead of just making a conclusion about the dignities. Now, Rahu, Sagittarius and Pisces ruler, which is Jupiter, has a very profound relationship. When someone has a conjunction between Jupiter and Rahu in their chart, it's called a Guru Chandal Yoga. And this is a very powerful alignment with profound significations. Dr. Vasant Lad in a chart will call this the curse of the Guru. The curse of the Guru. It is one of the curses of the Guru. And so nonetheless, this will have a challenging energy. Now, when looking at Rahu's relationship with Jupiter, you have to understand that Jupiter is the Guru planet. Jupiter is the planet of spirituality and religion. Rahu is deception, confusion, but it's also mystical, occult, and non-traditional power. So on the positive side of the conjunction with Rahu and Jupiter, you have someone who is going to have a profound spiritual and mystical journey in their life. With Guru Chandal Yoga, Rahu in Sagittarius, Rahu in Pisces, these people are on a profound spiritual journey. And they often have to go through experiences that are challenging in relationship to that spiritual journey. Because the Jupiter is the Guru planet, often people with Rahu Sagittarius, Rahu Pisces, and Rahu Jupiter conjunction, these people are deceived spiritually. These people are deceived religiously. And so what does that mean? Maybe you're born a certain religion or spirituality, and as you get older, you begin to realize that your parents deceived you or they misled you, whether teaching you about the religion or the spirituality in the false way, or from sheltering you from all of the other aspects of religion and spirituality that exist in the world. And then the Guru aspect is that oftentimes with Guru Chandal Yoga, this is especially true. And that is why it is so important to find the right Guru, is that often those in Rahu Sagittarius, Rahu Pisces, Guru Chandal Yoga are deceived by their spiritual teachers. Often you hear these horrible, horrible, heartbreaking stories of these gurus, of these teachers that are supposed to be spiritual leaders, and that eventually they're taking physical or sexual advantage of their followers. It happens with priests in the Catholic religion. It happens with rabbis in the Jewish religion. It happens with gurus in the Hindu religion. There are constant deception as far as our leaders and teachers and gurus go. And so when you have this conjunction, a relationship between Rahu, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Jupiter, it is so important that you find a guru that can actually be pure. Like my guru, Amaji, Amritananda Mayima. I know she is completely pure. She's Sadguru, fully realized. There is no reason to ever question her realization. And so this is the type of guru that someone needs that has Rahu Sagittarius, Rahu Pisces, Rahu Jupiter. They don't need Ama to be their guru, but they need a Sat guru. They can't have just a yoga teacher started his own yoga thing. They can't have some guy who's just the guru, on his path to realization. They really need to magnetize towards a guru that is already fully realized, Sat Guru, like Amaji, Neem Karoli Baba, etc. And so the difference between Rahu and Sagittarius, Rahu and Sagittarius can be malefic because Sagittarius is the is the sign of morals and ethics, our character, what we think is right and wrong. And Rahu is deception and confusion. And so usually these people with Rahu and Sagittarius have to spend a lot of energy in their lifetime improving their moral, improving their ethics. They may actually have a warped or false understanding of right and wrong, of good and bad, of moral and ethic. This is why some believe that Rahu is actually debilitated in Sagittarius. Why would Rahu be debilitated in Sagittarius? Because there is a great possibility that the individual's moral and ethical understanding, barometer, whatever you want to call it, if not worked through or emphasized with awareness, these people can have a really false or negative understanding of right and wrong. In other words, they may think wrong is right. They may think bad is good. And they might commit theft. They might commit attack of violence. They may commit something that we know, for those that have morals and ethics, are wrong, but because of this challenging karma, they are deceived. They are deceived. And again, if someone has this conjunction and they work through it, which means they realize that they need to really focus on right and wrong, good and bad, morals and ethics, and that because they are vulnerable in their own consciousness to being somewhat deceived, they have to go to the Sat Guru. They need to know what is right and wrong through ancient teaching and the Sat Guru, because their own perception may be slightly wrong. And so again, on the positive side of it, once that austerity is brought into the morals and ethics, these people are some of the best people as far as they never do wrong and they are only concerned with doing right. But that is only for the people that are consciously working on this vibration and realize it's something that they need to work on. Now, with the Rahu and the Pisces, it's the consciousness between heaven and earth. It's the flowing between the higher realms and the lower realms. And so often when this is a fairly favorable conjunction, when Rahu is in Pisces, these people can be very intuitive. They can be very psychic. They can be able to see the future. They can be able, but again, Rahu takes away our ability to see the future. So even though they may be intuitive about things, sometimes what they are intuitive about is a deception, is a maya, is an illusion. So they have to understand that although they are inherently gifted with psychic and intuitive abilities, they must filter out the ones which they have to filter them out to understand, okay, just because I'm feeling this intuition doesn't mean that it's truth. I need to work on this and really figure out if this is a truth. So even though these people are naturally intuitive, that they have to work on the filtering of the information that they're being channeled through them. Now, with Rahu and Pisces, it can be very difficult for these individuals to kind of be connected to the material realm, because this channel, Rahu is going to disturb it. And so what that means is that someone will be heavily inclined to a higher consciousness, like an ascetic lifestyle, and completely abandon the material realm, or they may only care about the material realm and completely abandon the spiritual. So again, those that have Rahu and Pisces, they have to be very careful about the blending and the balancing of the material and the spiritual realm. A little bit about some inauspicious dignities. As I mentioned, Rahu has an enemy relationship with Mars. And when Rahu is in Aries, it can be very challenging because, again, Rahu in its proper evolution of its karma is teaching us how to live in the moment, how to live one day at a time, how to live one moment at a time. And Aries as a Rashi vibration is about action, is about energy, is about getting things done. I always say with Aries, if there's something done, then Aries has to do it. So if you combine that vibration with Rahu, you're always going to think like you have to get something done. And the truth is there's some deception and maya and illusion as far as that need and want and desire to get everything done. So you have to be careful that everything, even though you're desiring to get everything done and to do all of these things, that there is some vibration where those things that you're doing, if you're doing everything you have the desire to, then eventually, A, this will cause exhaustion, but B, some of those things that you're doing, because there's an impulse control difficulty with Rahu and Aries. Usually these people have an impulse about something, and because of that Aries vibration in Rahu, they have to act on the impulse very clearly. And so when we act impulsively without properly filtering out things, this can cause all kinds of chaos and destruction in our lives. A, we end up doing things we don't want to do, and B, there's not as much reflection or intention that goes into the action, so there's not as much power behind it. So with that austerity as relates to the Rahu, these people get a great amount of benefit as far as filtering, as I mentioned, filtering what that desire for advancement is. If there's something, if you have the desire to do something, which should be constant because of the Rahu and Aries, there has to be a reflection process. There has to be an introspection process of, okay, is this thing I want to do, is it coming from a place of impulsion? Is it coming from a place of compulsion? If it's not, then it should be a positive energy to take. If it is coming from a place of impulsion or compulsion, usually best to wait till that energy moves on. We talked a little about this with the current transit, but I also believed Rahu to be inauspicious in Leo. I almost put this under the slide relating to the debilitation, because just like Rahu splits the moon, he's hungry for and he eats the sun, which means the light of the sun can't shine because it's in Rahu's belly. And so often an illustration of Rahu, because it's thirsty and hungry for everything, sometimes the sun sits in the belly because Rahu has already eaten the sun. This vibration of Rahu and Leo, these natives have to be careful about they're too thirsty for power. They're too thirsty for success. This is an alignment that can be challenging to the ego. In a sense, these people may have very large egos. Now, if they're conscious and in a spiritual path, they see this vulnerability to thirst for power, to thirst for ego, and they realize that usually this means that you are meant to have a position of power. And so this conjunction, if you realize there's too much ego, there's too much thirst for power, then you take all of that and you use it in a positive way. If you know you're going to be bloodthirsty for power, if you know you're going to have a huge ego, then you should be a leader for the people. If you know you are going to be those things, then the best thing that you can do is selflessly serve the people. And so on the positive vibration, they take that power, they take that desire, and they use it to help others. That's the highest vibration as Rahu and Leo, is to take that power to serve the people, to serve the community, to support the Sangha. But on the malefic side of that expression in Leo, these people are real power-hungry, selfish beings. So that's a little bit about the dignity as relates to Rahu, and it's a good way of understanding how one's karma in own chart, depending on the position of Rahu, might be influencing the karmic nature of Rahu. Now that we discussed that, I'd like to talk a little bit about how we are to improve the planetary karma with Rahu. I really hope that the explanation of the karma of Rahu, as well as understanding its manifestation and its different planetary dignities, can be very helpful in us improving our planetary karma through our consciousness, through our awareness. There's no better way to improve our planetary karma than through our consciousness. It starts there, and that is when it manifests through our actions. And so the whole earlier part of this reading was to understand Rahu's karma, and hopefully that to improve your individual karma with Rahu through the paradigm of consciousness. Now we're going to be working on specific practices in order to improve Rahu karma. Let's first talk about ancient remedies. So Rahu's strongest day is Saturday. That is because Rahu is akin to Saturn. And so we are doing this webinar on a Saturday, and that is very auspicious. So Rahu is very strong on a Saturday. Now, I believe Rahu to be strongest on Saturday night. That means that Rahu is strong during Saturday during the day, but until about 4 or 5 in the morning Sunday, Rahu continues to get stronger. Rahu is strongest at 3 in the morning Sunday. So Rahu very strong at midnight, very strong at 10 p.m., strong right now, but will be stronger as you get closer to midnight. Rahu is the shadow planet. The shadow is strongest at night. And so this is a very important vibration to know. That when we're honoring Rahu, I often tell my clients as close to midnight as possible, do your puja for Rahu. If you're awake at 3 in the morning, you should do it then, because this is the strongest time for Rahu. Now, again, some of us go to bed at 9, 10, 11 p.m. It's okay to do it at night, but it is strongest there in the twilight. We honor Rahu by wearing certain colors. And so one of the things that the ancient text says is that we wear Rahu by wearing multicolored and striped items. So as you can see here, this is my traditional Rahu shirt. It's got lots of different colors and stripes and all kinds of things like that. This is a good example of a multicolored and striped item to wear for Rahu. In the Old Testament, there was a story called Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. And Joseph had this coat which had millions of rainbow colors. I think Joseph was honoring Rahu. So we honor Rahu by wearing multicolored and striped items. This rainbow kind of stripe and is often called psychedelic colors. Rahu has a specific indication for these psychedelic colors. Also, Rahu loves rust color. It says in the ancient text that Rahu is the color of rust. Rust is where brown meet with orange. So it's the combination of brown and orange. So any shade which has brownish orange, orangish brown, this is often called earth tone. This is also very auspicious for Rahu. Even the natural gemstone for Rahu, which is hessonite, is this color of rust. So it's important to note that we also honor Rahu by wearing rust-colored clothing. based on the ancient remedy. And this is a great way to improve our planetary karma with Rahu. Just through the clothes we wear, it does empower that vibration and protect you from its malefic or inauspicious energies. So I think that the rainbow multicolored stripe thing is kind of like this rainbow light protecting you from the deceiving dark, often darker effects of the Rahu vibration. We also honor Rahu through the gem Moldavite and Hessonite. I'm currently wearing now a Moldavite pendant. This is Moldavite, and this is a newer gemstone, so this could also be considered a contemporary practice. But what happened is there was a meteor or an asteroid, and this meteor crashed into the Czech Republic. And when that meteor crashed into the Czech Republic, it shattered and the stone turned green. And so that's where the Moldavite come from. And so there, remember, we honor Rahu by foreign and exotic. And so there is nothing more foreign and exotic than something outside of our planet. And so the fact that something come from outside of our planet crash in here, I think, and it's very interesting, because a lot of people ages 18 years old to ages 30 in America, Moldavite is their favorite gem. And I think that is very interesting because usually at that time, you're really figuring out who you are and experiencing who you think you might be. And it's this kind of natural Rahu vibration. So I believe that that meteor came down here to offer us the Moldavite to help improve our karma with Rahu. So I really also emphasize the Moldavite as well as the Hessonite as the two best gem for Rahu. It says in the ancient text when making Rahu gem work that it should be Panchadhatu, which is 5 metals. So it can either be a fusion of 5 different metals or 5 different metals made into a ring. This is usually gold, silver, copper, tin, and zinc. These are the 5 metals that are commonly used in the Panchadhatu. Now, it might be hard to find a metal worker, especially if you're outside of India, that is used to making Panchadhatu settings. So I usually say that when working with Rahu gem work, it is supportive to wrap it in as many metals as possible. Commonly in the West, the metals that are used gold, silver, and copper. So I always recommend when wearing a Rahu gemstone to wrap it in at least gold, silver, and copper. This will be very favorable as far as activating its full energies. So that would be beneficial as well. For Rahu ring, because it is akin to Saturn, it should be worn on the middle finger. I am someone who is of the theory that if it's in an auspicious or favorable position and you want to empower that, you wear it on the dominant hand. If it is more malefic and you want to reduce those malefic expressions, you wear it on the non-dominant hand. And often our karma with Rahu is challenging or malefic. So I very often recommend that Rahu be worn on the middle finger of the non-dominant hand. Now, if someone is in Rahu Mahadasha or they are Rahu Lagna, Rahu is exalted, then you might consider wearing it on your dominant hand. But I have Rahu Lagna. It's very favorable in my chart, and I also have a very challenging experience when I wear it on the dominant hand. So again, I overall encourage it to be worn on the non-dominant hand because of the overall malefic energy of Rahu. Also, in honor of Rahu, it's very beneficial to perform the Rahu mantra that we did earlier. I'm just going to flash back to it real quick and explain how I would instruct it to be done. But basically, again, on Saturday, as close to midnight as possible, and if you have it in you at 3 in the morning, I would like you to perform this Rahu mantra if you are seriously considerate of improving your karma with Rahu. In a rainbow-colored clothing and with your mala beads, it is highly favorable to repeat this mantra here, which is the whole sutra 5 to 10 times. I like doing it 8 times. So it's the Ardakayam Mahaviryam Chandraditya Vimardanam Simhika Garba Sambutam Tamrahu Pranamamyaham. And so you would repeat that 8 times. After you complete that aspect of the mantra 8 times, you will read the seed sound, which is Om Aim Hrim Rahave Namaha, or the tantric sound or syllable, which is Om Brahm Brihim Brahum Saharahuve Namaha, 108 times to complete the mantra. And then usually after that repetition of 108, I will go back to the reciting of the original mantra for a few times. Again, as close to midnight or as 3 in the morning as possible, to recite this whole mantra 5 to 10 times and then repeat the last line 108 times. Okay, so those are the main ancient remedies that are in every recommendation in order for how to improve our planetary karma with Rahu. There are other remedies, but I like to focus on something simple that is ancient and consistent, that is not superstitious. I am not particularly superstitious individual, and I believe that these remedies, although ancient, are extremely grounded and rooted in reality. And so I believe that these theories to be not only easy and enjoyable to employ, but amongst the strongest as far as the ancient remedy for Rahu is concerned. Now, when we discuss contemporary remedy with Rahu, this is very fun. Often when I tell my client, I want you to work with Rahu and I have a lot of remedy, they become scared. Oh, I have to work with Rahu, that's going to be painful. That's going to be stressful. And actually, no, it doesn't have to be. We can actually improve our karma with Rahu in an extremely fun way. And so that is what I encourage. Rahu loves foreign and exotic experiences, as we talked about earlier when analyzing the Rahu karma. That means that we can improve our planetary karma with Rahu by honoring the foreign and exotic in our lives, which means emphasizing, prioritizing, and integrating this foreign and exotic aspect of life in whichever way we can. Now, there are 2 ways which we employ the foreign and exotic into our lives to improve our karma with Rahu. One is that foreign and exotic simply means that you haven't done it before. Anything what you haven't done before is foreign and exotic to you because you haven't done it. And so one of the best things that we can do in our lifestyle in order to improve our relationship with Rahu is to try new things. It's very simple, it's very fun, and it's very easy. You're in Rahu Mahadasha, you're in Rahu Antardasha, you're in Rahu Transit, Rahu Lagna, Rahu Atmakarika. It is very important for you throughout your entire life, as well as the time when we're talking about this Rahu karma being emphasized, to try new things. Try new things in terms of all of the aspects of our lives. Try new things in terms of art, music, and entertainment. Try new things in terms of food. Try new things in terms of dating. Try new things in terms of spirituality and religion. Try new things in terms of career, financial. All this aspect of trying new things is extremely beneficial to improving your karma with Rahu. Now, there is a catch, because often when we try new things, and as relates to the Rahu karma, this is especially true, sometimes we try new things and we don't like them. Sometimes we try new things and we don't want them. Sometimes we try new things and we realize we don't need them. It is important, as you try new things in order to improve your planetary karma with Rahu, that at the same time, as trying new things to improve your planetary karma with Rahu, that you are okay and willing to make mistakes. You cannot be trying new things if you are not okay and willing to make mistakes as part of the process. Because the truth is, some of the things you will find you will not like. Some of the things you will find you will not enjoy, but that cannot stop you from doing them. Often our karma with Rahu gets stuck because we don't try new things because we are afraid we are not going to like them. But the truth is you have no idea unless you try. So it is very important in honor of improving your karma with Rahu that you try new things, but that you understand that it is okay if you make a mistake. I joke around with some of my clients that are not vegetarian. I say, go to a restaurant and order frog. You probably will not like it, but it is important that you try it. It is not about whether you like it or not. All that matters is that you try it. Some people will try it and they will love the taste of the frog, and other people it will make them sick. But nonetheless, in honor of Rahu, how to improve the karma, it doesn't matter whether we like the frog or not. All that matters is we try it. And again, this is only recommended for non-vegetarians. But it's just an example. Let's say you've never been to an electronic music concert in your entire life. Well, it is highly beneficial then to improve your planetary karma with Rahu to go to an electronic music concert. Maybe when you hear it on the radio, you think to yourself, oh, this is giving me a headache. I don't know how people listen to this music. It is so painful. But until you go to the concert and experience it for yourself, then you really do not know if you will enjoy it or not. So again, no matter what the aversion is, no matter what the hesitation is, it's so important that you try new things. This is one of the main ways we could improve our karma with Rahu. Also, foreign and exotic relates to things which are foreign or exotic or non-traditional in our lives, which again means anything that we're interested in, which was not initially shown to us early in our life. That these things which we are already, let's say, interested in or aligned to or curious about or have an affinity for. These aspects of life which are non-traditional and mystical, which we already have an affinity for, in honor of Rahu, we prioritize and emphasize these things in our life. For example, I've always loved chanting. I learned some Sanskrit when I was 8 or 9 years old and was chanting mantra by teenager year. And I always loved chanting mantra, Bhakti Path of Yoga. This is always the path that resonates most for me. Now, because of Rahu, whenever I want to improve my relationship with Rahu or honor Rahu or experience some positive karma in relationship with Rahu, it's helpful for me to chant. I've been chanting for very long. It was shown to me when I was fairly young, but it is definitely mystical and it is definitely non-traditional, as I was born in a Jewish family. It is definitely non-traditional, and so in honor of Rahu, I will constantly chant to improve my planetary karma. So it might be Ayurveda for a client, for a native. It might be Jyotish for a native. It might be Tantra. It might be Agora. It might be yoga. Whatever are these mystical aspects of your life or you are interested in, we highly improve our planetary karma with Rahu by continuing to devote our energy to these things. And then beyond that, these are some of the best ways to improve our planetary karma with Rahu, is to incorporate these new things. Other examples of art, music, of how to honor Rahu in terms of trying new things. There's food. So Saturday night, nothing better to do. Let's say you live in India, go out for Italian food. Let's say you live in Italy, go out for India food. Let's say you live in America, go out for Chinese food. This isn't just a fun, silly example of, okay, our palate isn't normally used to this. This food contains a foreign and exotic vibration. So nothing better to do on a Saturday night, go out to a foreign restaurant. Go out to an exotic restaurant. Try this kind of cuisine, which your palate is not used to. This is highly a great way and a fun way to enjoy honoring Rahu. Rahu also loves art, music, and entertainment. So it's important to try new things there. Go and see new artists. Go and see new exhibits you haven't before. Listen to new types of music that you haven't seen before. If you like country music, listen to rap. If you like rap, listen to rock and roll. If you like rock and roll, listen to blues. If you like blues, listen to electronic. This is just an example. This is what you listen to. Honor Rahu by listening to something else. So this is very beneficial. Also, movies, films. Rahu has a particular affinity for films that are scary, or what we call horror movie. And so one of the way that we improve our planetary karma with Rahu is watching horror movie. And actually, you can see your relationship with Rahu based on how scared you get from horror movie. Because the truth is about Rahu is it makes us fear and worry about these things which we have no control over, which doesn't matter. And when we are scared about a scary movie, we are scared about a box with wires in it. There's nothing real about a scary movie. It is just a television or a projector screen, and we are still scared of it. Oh my God, it's so scary. We are to worry about something which is not A, not real, and B, which we have no control over. So sometimes we can work on Rahu just by watching scary movie and trying not to be scared. So this is just a fun other way to work with Rahu. Now, this is a very controversial area of how to improve our planetary karma with Rahu, but Rahu loves mind-altering experiences. Rahu likes to change his consciousness. He wanted to drink the Amritam to change consciousness. He wants to do meditation, practice, to change consciousness, to become aware. And so usually Rahu, when it is strong in a chart, these people are very inclined to the changing of their consciousness. Now, there are sattvic ways to change our consciousness, like prayer, meditation, chanting, pranayama. These are all really powerful ways to change our consciousness. But commonly, people change their consciousness using drug and alcohol. And so usually people with strong Rahu karma have a connection to drug and alcohol. And again, when someone drink too much alcohol, smoke too much marijuana, they become or do cocaine, heroin, crack, crystal meth, whatever it is, whatever drugs everyone is suffering from in their country. Here in the United States, it's heroin. But basically that those that have this Rahu karma, that they are predisposed to addiction. They are predisposed to wanting to alter their consciousness in these challenging ways. If someone gets drunk, I understand this as possession of Rahu. If someone drink too much bhanga, this is also possession of Rahu. That it's very easy for us when using mind-altering substances to become possessed by them, and then you let the demon Rahu in. And so whenever you become addicted to any substance, doesn't matter, tobacco, alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, whenever you become addicted to any substance, you are becoming possessed by the dark nature of Rahu. So it is important. Well, first of all, if karma with Rahu is very strong, it is overall beneficial to be sober and to only use these more spiritual practices in order to change your consciousness to a higher place. But if these individuals are going to work on improving their karma with Rahu using substances, it is extremely important that they do it in a moderate way with incredible spiritual intention. A good example of this is the sadhus of India that fall under the Shaivite aspect of consciousness. And these people use cannabis or marijuana, bhanga, to empower their connection to Shiva, to empower their connection to God. And so their intention every time they use the ganja, Bom Shanka, Bom Shanka, Bom Shanka, then they light it up and they go into bliss with Shiva and everything, because there is so much spiritual intention that is going towards this mind-altering act. Now, again, this is an example of how we can use our intention. Those that have Rahu karma, if you're altering your perception without intention, it will usually lead to addiction, which is a slavery. But if we can have intention, if we can find moderation, then sometimes we can actually use a dravya, an external substance out of ourselves, to improve our spiritual growth. This is hard, and this is rare, and this is very challenging, and that is why it is easier to be completely sober from all of mind-altering substances in order to improve your karma with Rahu. But if you are going to use substances, it's incredibly important that you use them in moderation with only the intuition for ritual or spiritual awareness or spiritual growth. So if you are going to use alcohol, it's important that you do not get drunk, but you limit yourself to 1 or 2 drinks. Maybe this is, you can understand as shaking hand with Rahu. You can see Rahu, you can understand the vibration of Rahu, but you do not necessarily become possessed by it. This shows that maybe you have a okay relationship with this aspect of Rahu. If you can take 1 puff of marijuana and then go into a 3-4 hour sadhana or practice in which you are chanting devotionally, that is also a powerful use of this thing in a spiritual way. But if you smoke an entire chillum or joint of marijuana and then go watch television, this is completely not spiritual. There is nothing positive about this, and you are only making your karma with Rahu worse. So again, just to summarize this karma, because often people with strong Rahu karma do like altering their consciousness. It is best if you are completely sober and you are using pranayama, meditation, and chanting to enlighten your consciousness. But if you are going to use substances, it is important that A, those substances are spiritual and have a history of being used spiritually, B, that you consume them in moderation, and C, that you consume them with the intention for spiritual awareness. When we talk about the Ayurvedic improvement of Rahu karma, Rahu is heavily vitiating to 2 doshas, Vata and Pitta dosha. So you're not going to find much Kapha aggravation from Rahu, but you are going to find both Vata and Pitta aggravation. The Vata aggravation comes from the kind of the hypermobile Chalaguna vibration of Rahu, which is never satisfied, which is constantly seeking more and more and more and more, and nothing is ever enough. This constant movement, this constant action, this constant seeking, it creates worry, it creates anxiety, it creates nervousness. A lot of the times during this presentation of Rahu, I talked about how Rahu creates worry, it creates anxiety, it creates nervousness. Well, Dr. Vasant Lad says these are all manifestations of an imbalance of the Vata dosha. So this aspect of worry, anxiety, and nervousness is heavily aggravated from Rahu, which is the mental aspect of Vata. And this mental aspect of Vata, it's very important that we add the more Kapha qualities in to help balance this. This includes slow, heavy, relaxed, soft. All of these qualities are extremely kind of balancing to the Vata vitiating, particularly mental aspect of Rahu karma. Rahu karma from the Vata perspective can be very challenging physically to the Vata and Pitta dosha. But Rahu karma tends to be the most challenging on the mental paradigm. And so a lot of the times it affects the manas more than anything. And so because of this, it's very important to work with manas herbs in honor of Rahu. For Vata, it's beneficial to use Jatamansi. Often people with Rahu have insomnia. I have Rahu Lagna, I have insomnia my whole life. On average, my bedtime is 2 in the morning. So because of this, it is important to use Vata pacifying herbs like Tagara. Tagara, very beneficial for calming these kind of painful fluctuations of the mind. And so Vata Ama is reduced in the mind by Tagara as well. And so this is very helpful. You can think of this as the toxicity of the consciousness. And so certain herbs to balance this aspect of the mind, again, Jadamamsi, Tagar in the evening, Kapikachu is going to be really good, also known as Atmagupta, Brahmi. These herbs are going to be extremely beneficial. Tulsi is an amazing herb for Rahu because it works on such a spiritual level with its prabhav. It's a heart-centered vibration. So again, heavily vitiating to the Vata dosha, but mainly on the mental aspect. Good pranayama for the difficulty Vata karma as relates to Rahu is the Analoma Viloma and the Brahmari. Brahmari, again, is the bee's breath, and Analoma Viloma, alternate nostril breathing. These are very beneficial pranayama in honor of Rahu's Vata vitiating qualities. And those Vata herbs that I mentioned will also be beneficial for those struggling with this constant anxiety, stress, and nervousness which relates to Rahu. Rahu can also be vitiating to the Pitta dosha. Again, it represents a realization of power. The desire for power is Pitta. The desire for prestige is Pitta. The desire for fame, reputation, all of these things that come from the ego, which Rahu is heavily associated with the ego. This is related to Pitta, from the desire to never have enough power. And so this can be very vitiating in that these people are never satisfied no matter what they get. These people can be angry, they can be hot-tempered, they can be irritable when the Rahu karma is strong because of the discontentment. And again, it's very important for this vibration to invite sweet into one's life. It's good for the Vata, it's good for the Pitta. Because Pitta is angry, it is pacified by sweet. Because Vata is hot, Pitta is hot, it is pacified by sweet. So again, a sweet diet is helpful in terms of Rahu karma. Fruit, ladus, gulab jamun, kheer, jaggery, all of these things highly beneficial in terms of just offering a little sweetness in one's life to help kind of pacify some of these more challenging karmas that are Pitta related as relate to Rahu. Some of the herbs that are very good for the Pitta aspect of Rahu are going to be herbs that are kind of more cooling to the system. Again, Vidari is very good for this. Vidari is very good for that. Also, Gaduchi can be very good. Gaduchi is a particularly good herb for Rahu because, again, Rahu relates to toxins and poisons. And Gaduchi is one of the main Pitta-reducing herbs for toxins and poisons. Often when toxins and poisons are within our body, they cause Pitta. They cause a type of Pitta reaction. And so by Gaduchi, which is the remover of toxin, which is the remover of poison, it's a very beneficial herb as well. Okay, wonderful. So let's start Cancer ascendant, Cancer Lagna, as we can see here. And we'll go back to your chart. And your Rahu is in Sagittarius, Rashi, in the 6th chart, in the 6th house. And your Moon and Saturn conjunction in Capricorn in 7th house. You also wanted to add that your Rahu is aspected by Jupiter. Yes, there is an aspect of Jupiter and Mars from your third house. Okay, so there's two aspects on the Rahu well. And you're looking to understand some of your karma as relates to Rahu, as well as your current transit of Rahu on your, it looks like, sixth house. So when Rahu is currently Saturn is currently retrograde in Scorpio, but eventually Saturn will make its way into your sixth house when it goes back into Sagittarius. To talk a little bit about your karma with Rahu, and then maybe what the transit might look like. When Rahu is in the sixth house, it's actually considered a somewhat favorable position for Rahu. Rahu has a favorable position in the sixth house, the eighth house, and the 12th house. These are Drakana houses. These are considered often malefic houses. Rahu being a malefic planet, when it's in a malefic house, it kind of has a natural vibration there. So again, your Rahu in an overall favorable position. Now, there are a lot of karmas I see that when Rahu is in the sixth house. In Sagittarius, we talked about how this is influencing your morals and your ethics, your alignment to your higher self and your spiritual evolution. And so that could be some of the metaphysical energies that are being presented. But because Rahu is in the sixth house is an Artha house. And this relates to your prosperity and your success, as well as your financial security. There are two vibrations in the chart. The sixth house is supportive for your service and the work that you're doing. And the work that we find in the sixth house is often not the work that relates to our career or life purpose. In other words, sometimes we have lots of work to do in our lives. And sometimes the work which we have to do is not necessarily that which resonates with our career or life purpose vibrations. For example, I've always wanted to be a Jyotish, but I was a cafe manager. I was an events coordinator. Before I became full-time astrologer, I had all kinds of different jobs. This is an example of certain jobs which I had to do that don't necessarily resonate as my life purpose or dharmic vibration. And so when Rahu is in the sixth house, there is a process of finding out what our career or life purpose vibration really is. And in that process, sometimes we have to do work. Sometimes we have to have jobs. Sometimes we have to do service, which doesn't necessarily resonate. So your overall karma in your sixth house with Rahu, you may go through certain experiences in your life, particularly in the work that you have to do or the services that you're being offered, and they're not necessarily who you are or your life purpose in the deepest sense. Maybe you have to work a second job in order to support what is your real passion. And that sometimes there's this experience of having to go through these alternative jobs, go through this work to help fine-tune what really is your life purpose vibration. And so again, having to work different jobs, having to go through many things, this can be part of what is helping build Artha, your prosperity and your success and your financial security throughout your lifetime. So this is a very, very powerful vibration. Also, the sixth house is one of the main upashaya self-improvement houses. Because of this self-improvement vibration, these experiences that you go through as relates to Rahu, maybe as relates to the work and the services that you provide, they are helping to improve who you are. So it might be helping you with discipline. It might be helping you with determination. It might be helping you with selflessness, because this is a service house. And so Rahu sometimes makes us be selfless or do service that we don't necessarily feel inclined to. But once we do it, we feel so great from it that we continue to do it. This is just an example. And that's one of the manifestations of that. The second vibration that I always mention with the Rahu in the sixth house is that the sixth house is often called the house of enemies. And because the sixth house is the house of enemies, then Rahu in the sixth house, because Rahu is deception, Rahu is confusion, Rahu is the dark side of the moon, the shadow that the moon creates. And when you combine this with the house of enemies, what does it do? It creates a karma that creates confusion as to who your enemies are. This confusion that's created often manifests as the people who you think are your friends may really be your enemy. And at times in your life, who you thought your friend might show up as someone who's really not a friend. But it also shows someone who you might call an enemy, someone who you might think of your enemy is really your friend, because there's confusion as to the enemy. So when you're looking at this vibration, it kind of shows that there needs to be a lot of energy thinking about, okay, is this person in my life truly a friend or truly an enemy? And the sixth house is a house of coworkers. And so Rahu in the sixth house can often show difficulties with coworkers as well. In a sense, this coworker might feel like an enemy, and that makes work a very stressful environment. But basically, what is an enemy, or what is an enemy from a Jyotish perspective? And I believe an enemy is truly anyone who does not have your best interest at heart. So all someone has to do to be an enemy is to not really care about your well-being. And so usually these people are selfish individuals who care more about themselves than they would about anybody else. These are your enemies because of Rahu. And so it's important when looking at this vibration with the Rahu and thinking about your enemies to understand that, okay, is this person care about me? Maybe they're hard on me, maybe they're mean to me, but they're actually care about me, and they're mean to me and hard on me because they want me to grow. Because remember, this is a self-improvement house. And so oftentimes the person might seem like an enemy, but that's really just because they're being hard on you, encouraging you to grow. Now, you might think someone is your friend because you can, not you specifically, but this is an example of Rahu in the sixth house. You might think of someone as your friend because they're easy with on you. It's easy to hang out with them. You can have a beer with them. You can have a glass of wine. You can, it's easy. It's comfortable. They're not hard on you. But when push comes to shove, they might actually be an incredibly selfish individual who would always choose their own welfare over you. So this person who you thought was your friend might actually be a selfish enemy. And this person who's hard on you, which might present as a selfish enemy, might really be your ally. And so these are two karmas that certainly manifest with Rahu in your chart. And so to improve your planetary karma, one is to continue to experience all of the work that you have as you fine-tune exactly what your life purpose is. And then the second vibration is to really establish whether the people in your life are selflessly in support of you, which makes them your friend, or secretly have ulterior motives or are selfish in their consciousness, which means they are truly your enemies. And so when Saturn will aspect this house in the upcoming transit of Saturn in Sagittarius, it will heavily influence bringing certain people into your life, which may or may not be friends or enemies. And it also, because Saturn is a delay, Saturn is a challenge, and this is a work. So I call the sixth house of paying your dues. And so Saturn aspecting that house with Rahu is really going to emphasize this aspect of paying your dues, which means things in your job might be moving slowly because of Kṣaṇāti. And this vibration of them moving slowly may cause it to seem like there is not as much excitement or growth in your career as you would like. Nonetheless, by the end of the Saturn transit, there will be greater growth than you can imagine. But I imagine because of Rahu that there will still be worry and anxiety in that area as well. How did you get all that, Muhammad? Okay, wonderful. And was that helpful for you? Yes, of course, brother. Yes, happy to assist. Happy I could help. Thank you. Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, Harsh Sahani. Okay, we don't need to bring, oh, wonderful, Muhammad. That's so great. Harsh Sahani, we don't need to bring in because it's a question that I'm just going to touch on. And if Harsh is here, know that I'm answering your question. But because we're not using your chart for this question, I'm not going to pull you in. So you asked, while using true Rahu position over all these years, I have seen that in transit, Rahu's movement as per mean Rahu makes a big impact. Also, Rahu Ketu's nakshatra and Navamsha positions changes in natal horoscope. Depending on what degree you use, mean, true, hoping you could throw some light on these 2 points. So there is no right or wrong answer. Each astrologer will use mean Rahu or true Rahu. Because of this example of the mean Rahu versus the true Rahu kind of being relevant to each astrologer or Jyotisha's preference, I just want to say that there's no right or wrong answer. Now, the difference is it has a lot more to do with astronomy than it does with astrology. When you look at the true versus the mean position of Rahu, the true position of Rahu fluctuates because the nodes themselves are said to shake or they're said to veer. And so the true position of Rahu takes into account these shakes and these subtle movements of Rahu, and so it creates a variation. So basically, from an astronomical perspective, even though Rahu might move forward, let's say 1/10 of a degree, the true Rahu, because it fluctuates or the node shakes, it might move forward 1/10 of a degree, but it might move backward 1/30 of a degree. So it takes into account these fluctuations that are back and forth between the Rahu. Because as a node sets, and this is astronomy, I'm an astrologer, not an astronomer, but I study astronomy. I always go to the planetarium and learn whatever I can. That this aspect, it takes into account these fluctuations, which are the back and forth of the traveling of the nodes. The mean node is a much simpler way of interpreting things. It is a constant. Advancement forward, and it is a constant advancement forward at the same rate. It doesn't take into account the fluctuations. It takes only into account a consistent rate in which Rahu and Ketu travel. And so I personally, and a lot of the astrologers I know, that they use the mean Rahu. Why? Because most astrologers use the mean Rahu that I know of, and also that the mean Rahu is simpler and easier to understand in terms of it's not a back and forth, but it's this consistent movement. And because Rahu is permanently retrograde, I do believe it is constantly moving backwards. And even though it fluctuates, I believe those fluctuations to be so subtle that they shouldn't be used in the mathematical equation. Although I am not one to say if you use true Rahu, there's anything wrong with that. I just believe that the mean is a simpler way of understanding things. And whenever possible, I believe in creating simplicity versus an overcomplication. But again, in the end, it only varies about 1 degree. And with Rahu and Ketu, that's significant. But again, it's really a matter of preference for each astrologer. But I use mean. Okay, can we bring Sukadeva in?
Sure.
Sukadeva Victor, I think.
Yes. We have Sukhadev Goswami Das. So
I think that's
yeah, that is one.
Oops.
Okay.
Okay, so okay, let's bring Sukadeva in.
Yes.
Namaste ji.
Hare Krishna. Namaste.
Hare Krishna. Haribol. How are you doing today?
I'm good and enjoying the lecture. Thank you very, very much. It's been very, very enlightening.
And where are you currently located?
Mauritius.
Beautiful. Always wanted to travel there.
Yeah, please come. It's a very beautiful island.
Yes, I love the islands.
Yes.
So looking at your query, you mentioned that wondering if Rahu is influencing your chart and your karma positively or negatively.
Yeah.
The truth is it's always both, but we want to know whether it's majorly auspicious, inauspicious, benefic, or malefic, and how specifically. When I look into your chart, I will see that you are 1 in 2 minutes of being a Sagittarius ascendant. But your Kundali says Capricorn ascendant, but that doesn't make sense to you. But you prefer to be judged from a Sagittarius ascendant. Now, when I looked at your chart and ran my analysis, I got a Capricorn ascendant. And I sent you an email asking you the analysis of the whether you prefer me to look in Capricorn or Sagittarius. You said whichever you feel more inclined.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I feel more inclined to the Capricorn. Now, so I'm going to read from the Capricorn. Is that okay, or would you like me to quickly change it to Sagittarius?
It's okay.
Okay. So in your Rashi chart, which we'll be looking at, you have the Moon and Rahu conjunct in the 11th bhava in Scorpio. And in your Navamsha, Rahu is alone in also the 11th house. And that's significant because whenever Rahu is the same in both the birth chart and the Navamsha, it has profound implication for being emphasized. The most confusing are your divisional charts D16 and D2, where you have Ketu, Rahu conjunct together in the same house with no planet sitting with them. Please, what lesson is Rahu wanting me to learn? What am I not paying attention to? First, I'll say is often with the divisional charts, Rahu and Ketu sit together. Because when you divide the charts, the division creates it so they're conjunct. So it is extremely common and almost happens all the time where in 1 or 2 or multiple of the divisional charts, Rahu and K2 are close together. Now, the closer that Rahu is to 15 degrees, the closer, the more times that in the divisional charts, they will be conjunct in your chart. Because when you divide that and they're at the same degree of 15, then it will cause those kind of conjunctions. So again, just to know the conjunctions in your divisional charts, they're somewhat normal. But looking at what is Rahu wanting you to learn, when we look at your chart, we see Rahu Moon in conjunction in the 11th house. Now, the Rahu Moon can be a challenging conjunction, as I mentioned, because the Moon is connected to the mind, the Moon is connected to the manas, the Moon is connected to the emotional nature of the individual, and Rahu can often carry worry, anxiety, and stress. And so this would have an indication that there is some emotional stress. And so before we look at specifically in your chart, the type of karma that is manifesting with Rahu, it's important to mention also that as far as the general karma that we mentioned with Rahu is that Rahu takes away the future and the past, makes the future hard to see or understand, makes the past hard to see or understand, and if we attempt to control it, it will cause chaos. Well, because you have Rahu Moon conjunction, this type of focusing on the future, thinking about the future, it's going to be especially malefic for you emotionally. In a sense that thinking about the future ruin your emotional health. In other words, if you are focusing on the future, obsessing about the future, it will certainly challenge your emotional health, which in turn is challenging your happiness. And so again, just the general karma being emphasized here because of the emotional connection, that your emotions are going to be very heavily disturbed if you're not living in one day at a time. If there's a lot of focus on the future or focus on the past, there can be a lot of stress. Now, when you look at Rahu in 11th house, Baba, it has profound significations. This is a house of Kama, which is the fulfillment of all of your soul's passions and desires on the deepest of level. And remember, Rahu is this thirst for curiosity and experience. You have Rahu in Scorpio, which I mentioned is incredibly curious. Now, Rahu with moon, the moon in Rahu adds devotion to whichever karma Rahu is creating. So you're a very devotional soul, particularly devoted to investigation of your curiosities by this Rahu moon in Scorpio vibration. You are a very curious individual, and there is a lot of dream in terms of the investigation of your curiosities, figuring out what your dreams are. Now, this is the house of dream achievement, which is both the dreams that we have and our ability to succeed and achieve those dreams. And so when Rahu in 11th house, it kind of shows that sometimes what our dreams are, which is what we want for our lives at one time in our life, is very different than what it is at another time in our life. Because Rahu's karma, as its process of investigating what your dreams are, well, Rahu moon shows there's a great possibility as far as many, many, many dreams. And in order to find out what your true dream is, you are going to have to investigate many possibilities which are not what your dreams are. So perhaps earlier in your life, during Rahu periods, Rahu Mahadasha, Rahu Antardasha, I'm not able to look at specifically when those periods are for you, but generally speaking, there will have to be this investigation of what you think you might want to do, what you think you might want your dreams are, what you think you might want to accomplish with your life. There will have to be an experiences of many different things in that area. And some of those things that you experience, they're not going to be what your dreams actually are. So you will have to go through the experience of investigating something you think might be your dream, think might be your soul's fulfillment, in order to find out what you truly want. In other words, this Rahu moon karma in the 11th house is especially significant in terms of you fine-tuning what you want with your life throughout the birth to death. It's constantly fine-tuning throughout your life what exactly you want to accomplish with it. So at the end of your life, what you want to accomplish with it, your karma in your chart is fine-tuning what that is. It just shows that at some point you might have to be kind of exploring something that is truly not what your greatest dream is, in order to get deeper into truly accomplishing everything you wish to accomplish in this lifetime. And this can relate to work, this can relate to career, this can relate to marriage, this can relate to children, this can relate to all of these things as far as what your dreams are, and the process of eliminating some of those things and emphasizing others.
It's very, very nice.
Thank you,
It is
brother.
very, very nice and very, very enlightening.
Thank you.
It gives me a very brighter understanding of what I'm really, inquisitive about. I'm very, very grateful for this.
Thank you, brother. Please stay in touch.
Yes, I shall.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Beautiful.
Okay, Madhuraji, can we bring a Dr. Ren?
Yes, sure. Okay.
Is he available?
Yes, available. Actually, he is connected from two devices, so I am trying, but I can't make him panelist. I don't
He
know.
he emailed me that he was having technical difficulties.
Yes, yes.
Um, Dr. Ren, if you're here, can you please type into the chat? Just say hello under chat. Now, I will look into your query whether you're here or not, but if possible, I would like to discuss with you. But as we discussed, I know you're having technical difficulties, so I want you to be able to look back on this webinar and get some answers to your questions, regardless of your availability here today. But Madhuraji, do you think I should just proceed?
Yes, because I'm not able to make him the panelist.
Okay, Dr. Ren, I will answer your question here. You asked, how can you improve your planetary karma with Rahu if possible required? Will I have the mind to do my research that I enjoy doing? Currently, I am not putting any effort into it. Will I ever be married to the right person for me? Now, we're looking at your chart, Sagittarius Lagna, and you have a Rahu-Saturn conjunction. This is very powerful Rahu-Saturn conjunction. Again, two planets very akin to each other that in your chart are working together. Now, your Rahu's at 0 degrees, so it's kind of bouncing between two signs of Libra as well as Scorpio. So there is almost of a dancing of Rahu between the two signs, like similarly how we're seeing that right now with Leo and Cancer for Rahu. You have something very similar in your chart. As we look into your chart, how can you improve your planetary karma with Rahu? Will I have the mind to do my research that I enjoy doing? Now, as far as your marriage question, it's completely not relevant to the topic, so I can't answer it. Just out of fairness to answering everyone's questions who are relevant to the topic. And I hope that is taken okay. I'm just trying to be professional. So, but as far as improving your planetary karma with Rahu, that's something I'm definitely happy to discuss. Now, with Rahu in the 12th house, this is very powerful because, again, as I mentioned, Rahu represents all our soul's experiences that need to happen before we are ready to experience moksha. But 12th house is moksha bhava. So when you have Rahu in 12th house, it shows a very profound signification between the Rahu karma that you're experiencing in your lifetime and your ability to achieve moksha. This karma can be very challenging with Rahu in the 12th house, along with the conjunction of Saturn. This can be a somewhat challenging karma. And actually, you're going through a Saturn return as we speak, as you find that Saturn is transiting Scorpio right now. And so because of all of these questions, there is a somewhat challenging karma, which is presenting itself in your 12th house. The 12th house is a house of non-attachment, detachment, letting go, and surrender. Rahu is the planet of desire, of experiences, of all of the things which you want. Because of this combination of letting go, surrender, non-attachment, and moksha, and desire, that one spiritual evolution is forced for them to let go of things which they desire. So this conjunction of Rahu and Saturn, you say, how can I improve your planetary karma with Rahu if possible / required? As far as the requirement, it's necessary if you want to get closer to moksha. So in your chart, if you want to achieve the fourth aim of life, which is moksha, which is liberation, which is closeness to God, then yes, working with your karma with Rahu is going to be extremely beneficial. But how to do that is the removal of desire because of Rahu 12th house, the removal of attachment. What you want, what you need, what you desire, all of these things, what you crave as far as your experiences, like what you mentioned, your research, like what you mentioned, being married to the right person, that to some extent, your path to moksha is related to completely surrendering and letting go of these desires. It's completely surrendering and letting go of these attachments. I am not saying that you will not get married to the right person. I am not saying that you will not complete your research. What I am saying is that the more you can let go and surrender and not have an attachment to these outcomes, then the greater possibility that you will actually get these things. The more you worry about it, the more you anxiety about it, the more you're attached to it, the more these things will be fleeting. The more that you can surrender these things, then the more they will come. Okay, thank you, Dr. Ran.
I hope he has got the answer for his question.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Okay, Rakesh.
Okay.
Rakesh here. Rakesh ready?
Yes, we have HS Rakesh. So, is he the same person? Are you the same person? Rakesh, please write in the chat window if you are on board.
Oh, okay.
No, 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 he is not.
You're not Rakesh ready?
No.
Oh, Mr. Reddy isn't ready. Oh, well. So I guess we'll move on.
Yes.
Okay, great. So now would be a great time. Thank you everyone who sent in your queries, sent in your webinars, has spent this time with us during this time. Now I would like to take 2 to 3 questions. Please put them in the question and answer portion of the webinar, and I will do my best to look at them. I will look at these questions that we have now. First by Tayam Gandlu Ramarao Nagesh asked, hi, I have Rahu in 2nd house in Taurus. Aries Lagna, exalted? Yes. Is he responsible for my divorce being in a house related to family issues? So again, Rahu exalted. This could be beneficial for you materially. This could be beneficial financially. Taurus is ruled by Venus, which is connected to love, particularly the romantic type of love. The 2nd house is a house of family issues, particularly the big picture family. Those that have an exalted Rahu, again, which is this Taurus vibration, which is related to Venus, that Rahu shows us who we are by experiencing who we're not. And if you want to bring that vibration into love and romance, sometimes we have to experience of a relationship, which we think, which was what we wanted, which is what we think with the person we want to be with. And in that experience, we find out, sadly, that this is not the person that we want to be with. This is not the person who I thought they were. And so, yes, it is certainly true that when Rahu is in Libra, Rahu is in Taurus, and there is a transit or activation, that it can indicate multiple marriages, because you might have to go through the experiences of being with the wrong person in order to find out the type of person that you truly wish to be with. That is why I always recommend dating someone for many years before you marry them, especially if this Rahu karma is very strong. If we act based on the influences of planets that control the way we think, feel, planets make us think of the past, and Rahu blocks or creates a fog to think of the past. What do we think? Crazy. Yes, Rahu creates the fog or the smoke that makes us obsess or think about the future, that makes us obsess or think about the past. And this question of, focusing on the future, it's a test. Rahu is a tester. Like Saturn and Rahu are akin, they both love to test. And how Rahu tests us is it creates the fog that makes us worry about the future. It creates the fogs that makes us worry about the past. But the true test is our ability to fully align to the consciousness of living in the moment. So it is easier to live in the moment if you're not worried about the future and the past. It's natural, but it shows the greatest amount of spiritual evolution when you are vulnerable to being obsessing or worrying about the future or the past, but you use your spiritual awareness and sadhana not to. That is the greatest way of passing this test. Does Rahu in 12th house, along with 4th Lord Sun in Aries, give foreign settlement? Most definitely. Whenever Rahu is in the 12th house, I probably should have mentioned this for Renji, these people are attracted to foreign and exotic locations. And whenever there is an exchange between the 4th house and the 12th house, it can show a living in these foreign locations. Whenever Rahu is in the 12th house, it shows an inherent attraction to foreign and exotic and mystical lands. And so certainly Rahu in the 12th house brings this attraction. Okay, great. Moon also exalted in Taurus. If Rahu and Moon are conjunct in Taurus, how does it turn out as they are enemies? Okay. The exaltation of both these planets in Taurus will make what is very traditionally considered a very malefic conjunction, which is Moon and Rahu, which is very challenging, much more auspicious. But just like the positive side of this auspicious alignment is there, so is there a malefic side of this. Because when Rahu is extremely strong because it's exalted, and the Moon is extremely strong because it's exalted, this will give incredible intuitive abilities. This will give incredible almost counseling abilities, spiritual counseling, helping people with their lives to find their truth, to find their happiness. All these incredible qualities as far as your ability to reflect and introspect on all of these beautiful things. But because of the Rahu-Moon relationship, it creates a darkness. In other words, yeah, you're intuitive, but you're intuitive about dark things. Let's say, you may be very intuitive that someone's going to get into a car accident, that there is going to be war in the United States, that there is going to be all of these things. It is incredibly powerful gift as far as intuition, intuitive abilities, empathic abilities, emotional, reflective abilities. But it also makes it where you are able to intuit the dark side of things, whether you want to or not. So you are not able, with this conjunction of Rahu and Moon in Taurus, you are really not able to see the good without also seeing the bad. And intuiting what that is. Okay. Wow, we have lots of questions. Okay. Going through Rahu Dasha and Rahu transiting in Lagna over Venus in Cancer. Yes, you're going through Rahu Dasha at the same as Rahu in Cancer. This vibration of Rahu transiting your Lagna shows a change in the character, shows a change in the identity, shows a change in the personality. Because of Venus being a planet of refinement and sophistication, your character is becoming more refined and sophisticated. Your identity is becoming more refined and sophisticated. And because of the Rahu vibration, part of that manifest is that in order to become your refined self, in order to become sophisticated of yourself, you really have to purge all of the false aspects of yourself. So part of that refinement or sophistication that's going on as relating to Rahu is really about removing all of the aspects, lifestyle choices, thought patterns, which are not really supporting you in terms of your highest vibration. My Rahu is in Libra, okay, and Aries Sun with Ketu and Saturn. Okay, this question is too specific, sadly, to answer. I'm so sorry, but I can't really look at it without seeing the entirety of your chart. It would not be fair to you. I'm sorry, G. Rahu and Satyabisha, right on. And third house gives what kind of vibration during its Mahadasha? Well, the third house being a powerful vibration of ambition, motivation, intention. I like to think of the third house as the place where we set our intentions and the fuel that keeps our motivations and ambitions going. And Satyabisha is often called 100 healers or 100 physicians, 100 Vaijas. And this is a manifestation of its karma, which is releasing our ability as a healer. Usually, Satyabisha causes some kind of healing experience or disease that one has to go through in their own life in order to experience the fullness of the healing. In other words, how do we unlock our gifts as a healer? It's through sickness. It is the sickness which we experience which helps unlock our ability to want to heal. Before I studied Ayurveda for many years, I had a sickness which I was kept losing weight. I was almost 100 pounds. So I went to Ayurveda because I needed to find out what I needed to do in order to balance my body, mind, and spirit. And so when I think of your karma of Rahu and Satyabisha in third house, your ambitions and motivations and intentions really emphasizing around this healing process and the relationship between poison and the medicine, the relationship between disease and health. It will be very important for your evolution in that area. Okay. My Rahu Dasha is just started. How the Rahu karma manifests in my life. Rahu is placed in 7th house in Taurus in Rohini Nakshatra, aspected by Jupiter. Now, again, I can't look into this. It's a very specific question to give you full answer, but the simplest answer that you have exalted Rahu in 7th house, this will be extremely powerful in terms of your romantic and partnerships. If you are married, there will be a lot of karma that will come up during this time to improve your relationship and how you can better be partners to each other. If you can't do the work, in other words, if either party is not willing to do the work that is necessary to bring the improvement in the relationship, then usually this leads in breakups, divorces, separations, and things like that. So it does show that there is work to be done in terms of your relationships, and that work has to be aligned to if you want the relationship to survive. So that is one of the vibrations. If you're not currently in a relationship, it could show the desire and of wanting to be in the relationship and putting energy in that area as far as manifesting that karma. But again, because Rahu is there, I highly encourage you to date this person for a couple years before you marry them, because there could be challenging in the relationship. So it's important that you work on this stuff before marriage to find out if you really want to be married. Thank you. How does Rahu do in the nakshatra of the luminaries? Okay. The luminaries. What do they mean? Do you know, what do you mean by luminaries, G? Luminaries, like all the planets are considered luminaries. Is there Madhuriji? Oh, sun and
moon.
Okay.
Sun and moon. I think he means sun and moon.
Okay, great. So Rahu, much like it does in Sun and Leo, does very challenge in nakshatra of Sun and Moon. Now, again, if it's in a sign that is favorable, it will help reduce some of this malefic expression. But because Rahu splits the Moon and Rahu eats the Sun, it can often cause a malefic or challenging effect in the Sun and the Moon nakshatra. It is very powerful for the Sun when in Rahu nakshatra, helps us in the full realization of our power, of our potential, of our soul's happiness. When Rahu in Moon Nakshatra, it helps reveal us to our devotional nature, our emotional nature, and our spiritual nature. Okay, great. Sorry, my Rahu is in 10th house in Libra with Sun and Ketu. Okay, well, I'll just touch on the Rahu specifically in the 10th house in Libra. Again, Rahu in Libra has very special indications for gifts as relates to the arts, creative expression, music, and entertainment. The fact that your Rahu is in the 10th house shows that you should have a creative career. Your karma with Rahu is influencing creative gifts in your career. Again, so there should be some type of relationship between your career and art, music, entertainment, and beauty. Rahu with Jupiter in Libra in 9th house. Rahu in 9th house is very powerful. Often with people Rahu in 9th house, they are not inclined towards the traditional manifestation of religion. They're usually inclined to the more mystical, non-traditional aspect of religion known as mysticism. Conjunct with Jupiter creates a Guru Chandal Yoga. This shows a combination of spiritual and mystical qualities in your 9th house of the Guru. And religion. So this creates a very spiritual vibration. First of all, Jupiter has signification for the 9th house. So it's empowered by being in the 9th house, which makes the Guru Chandal Yoga more auspicious. But Rahu always question things. Rahu always not automatically believe what it is. Sometimes people with Rahu in 9th house, they can be atheist or agnostic, which means they go against common religion because they don't believe in it or they are not inclined to it. So again, this kind of evolutionary aspect shows that part of your spiritual evolution is creating a balance between religion and your faith and believing in religion, but also this mystical aspect which needs to be equally valued for you. The interchange of Rahu-Ketu energies by the way of nakshatra or house positions shows what kind of energies. So yes, if Rahu and Ketu are interchanging in a way through their nakshatras, it shows that there is a strong connection to these nodes. For example, Rahu in a Ketu nakshatra, Ketu in a Rahu nakshatra. This vibration is extremely powerful. It shows that the nodes are empowered in one's chart, so they're given special signification. But they often say that the cure to one's difficulties with Rahu relate to Ketu. The cure to one's difficulties with Ketu relate to Rahu. So when there's an exchange between these vibrations, it shows as part of your evolution, you are not necessarily just favoring the north node over the south node or the south node over the north node, but rather you are bringing both these energies into a harmonious vibration for the greatest amount of spiritual growth. Yes, Rahu being tamed by Jupiter. You can see in any Guru Chandal Yoga, when Jupiter is stronger than Rahu, there is because Jupiter is sattvic. And so Rahu tamasic. So in the Guru Chandal Yoga, when Jupiter is stronger, it definitely creates a sattvic, helps with the sattvic vibration of Rahu. And taming is a funny word to use it. Yes, it does tame the malefic or deceptive aspects of Rahu. Okay, that's all the questions for now. Thank you everyone for answering questions. I'm just going to look into the chat real quick to see what everyone is saying. Yes, you can excuse. Thank you, everyone. If you have to go, that's fine because the webinar is now over. I'd like to thank everyone who took the time to be here. I think we've been here 4 hours almost.
Yes.
So,
4 hours.
So amazing. Thank you all for your time, your commitment to this work, and I'm just so grateful. I'd like to give a special thanks to Madhuraji. You're a gift. Your consciousness is divine, and I'm so grateful for your support. I'd like to give thanks to the rest of my team at Saptarishis Astrology, and a special thanks to the founder, Sunil John, for his support and believing in this work, and sending everyone deep gratitude and blessings. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you so much, Sanadi. What and really beautiful. And I hope to see you soon in our next webinar in this series. So, and I hope to see all of you. This has become like a family now, the How to Improve Our Karma series. So, I hope to see you soon, and I hope to see all of you soon in our next webinar. Thank you so much. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you.